What's up, guys? We are back after a big week. We got UFC 299 live in Miami. This is Beat the Line broadcast, episode 23. I'm your host, Pegasus Picks. I'm here with Dravey, Key 3 Picks, and our special guest, LiamPicksFights. What are you guys thinking of this awesome card so far?
It's a banger, dude.
Love it,
What's your favorite fight?
Favorite fight for me gotta be BSD versus Porier.
So do you think it's actually the staph infection he has, or do you think it's actually that 9mm thing that he was saying?
I don't think that's a staph. I think the fight's gonna be happening. I don't want to think about that. What's up, Corey?
Hell yeah.
I gotta look deeper into that. I'm not sure about that staph infection thing, but I did see those pictures come out.
I mean, it looks like staph, and you know what they say: if you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. So, I don't know. I kind of got a big position on BSD, so I'm kind of hoping it's not the case. Let's get started here. So, beginning of the card, we're gonna go from bottom to top, going based off Tapology. Our first fight of the night is Joanne Wood versus Mariana Moroz. Joanne Wood, 16-8. She's 5'6". She's 38, 65-inch reach. She's fighting Mariana Moroz, 11-5, 32, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. Liam, we'll start with you since you're our guest. Do you think Wood is going to finish on a good note on her retirement fight, or do you think she stops the grappling of Moroz here?
I think Joanne Wood stinks. I've always thought Joanne Wood stinks. Not trying to be rude, just never really thought she was that good of a fighter. She did some things well, right? Got on the Ultimate Fighter, kind of had that promotional vehicle behind her. But like every big fight of her career, she lost every single one along the way. And when you look at like most of the problems she's had, she's been, defeated as a big favorite, right? She was undefeated when she first met up with Marina Moroz back in 2015. Got submitted in that spot. Then she was supposed to fight for the title. What happened? She says, no, give me the next one up. Jennifer Maia, only finish win in her UFC run. By the way, she's no longer with the company. She's been let go. So you look at these fighters and it's like Joanne Wood just gives people their only UFC finish. It's like unbelievable how bad she's been in terms of her defensive prowess. Her offense is fine. Right. She goes out there. She attempts strikes. She's just not very dangerous. She normally doesn't hurt people. She doesn't finish people or put them away. So for me, that's a big problem. Right. I think that when you look at the other side here, Marina Moroz, people will talk about the OnlyFans. They'll talk about the fact she's lost her last two fights. Meanwhile, you've got a win on the other side for Joanne Wood. But frankly, like if Karine Silva was fighting Joanne Wood, I think she would absolutely destroy her. Right. I think she would finish her in the first round. I predicted Karine Silva to finish her in the first round. So when I'm looking, that was a rematch, right? That was actually her falling on a grenade, going out there and doing a hard rematch for the company where they're like, hey, you beat this girl when she was young. Can you go back out there, run this out? And you're probably going to get beat. Now I feel like they're trying to say, hey, here's a more winnable fight. You had two tough fights in a row. Go out there and retire Joanne Wood, move on with your career. That's kind of the way I see this going. So I'm leaning towards this fight, maybe being a little mispriced to go over. I think people are very confident in that, even though we saw how this played out once before. There was a very quick finish. The over actually moved up a little bit. People are betting it. God bless and good luck. Not me.
Yeah. Drav, what do you think? Do you think Moroz deserves the minus 220 price tag that she has?
It's hard to say because I think she can submit her easily and look minus 500, minus 1,000. But if she doesn't submit her and they're striking together, it's probably going to be a bit close because Wood has some nice volume. She's just a decent striker, but I just don't think her grappling is going to hold up here personally. And Moroz has all the finishing upside in the fight. She's much younger and she still wants to be here. And Woods has said that's a retirement fight, like we all talk about. And I don't really want to back a fighter that's going to be retiring, especially a older fighter. I just don't think Woods there anymore. And she has been submitted 5 times. And the 5 times she got submitted was in the first round. Moroz already submitted her in the first round. So I think story is going to repeat itself and we're going to see submission again. So if anything, maybe I go Moroz sub 1. If you really want to back this fight, Moroz sub 1 is plus 700. I think it's pretty decent. But again, yeah, I think there's better spots on the card. I'm probably not going to be betting this fight myself, but I'm going to pick Moroz to get a sub.
Yeah, I don't even think I'll be in the arena for this fight. I'll probably be joining in, after this, probably around 7:00, 7:30. Key, you like low level girl fights? You're kind of our guy for it. What do you got? Any hot takes for this one?
Hard money.
Yeah, this is my bag right here. To be fair, I do think I had a huge bet on Joanne Wood, her last time out, not our money line, her over significant strikes, and she cashed us out there. I love her volume. She's gonna throw 1,000 jabs. You know that she's gonna follow with a bunch of 1-2s. Like you said, like Drop said, I think Moroz probably can look like a wide favorite if she gets the sub, but if she doesn't, I think that things can kind of get a little sweaty on the feet just because Wood pours on so much volume and pressure. And Liam mentioned she's not very dangerous, but the fact that it's just out there and women's fighting, you're not going to find a bunch of moment winners anyways. And so I think that Wood does have a shot here. If this wasn't her retirement fight, or if she was a few years younger at this price, I maybe would be inclined to play something here. But I don't. I probably won't touch this fight at all. Moroz, I had Moroz in the Karine Silva fight last time out. And I will fade her one day, even if it's the last thing I do on this earth. But I think there's a Moroz spot. Moroz sub plus 235. I'm not touching, but I'm probably not going to touch this fight at all.
Yo, talking about props, where are the props this week? Like DraftKings, no props yet. What's going on? I don't really know.
FanDuel just dropped main card.
Oh yeah, okay, but still, that's a big pay-per-view. It's not. It's kind of weird that they're not dropping them.
I'm waiting for my Chukagian props to come. Even though tough interview to listen to today, not the best headspace, but she's made me enough money winning by decision. I probably got to.
Yeah, but honestly, we're gonna talk about this fight, but she looks very great physically. So I mean, good for her.
Yeah, she does. She doesn't look like she's 36, not at all. Let's go. Let's move on to the next fight. CJ Vergara versus Azu Almabayev. Vergara's 12-4. He's 32, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. Asu is 30. He's 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. You can find Carlos anywhere from plus 425 to plus 375. Asu's anywhere from minus 455 to minus 610. Javi, do you think Asu finds the finish here, or do you think we're going to watch this fight go to decision, or we're going to watch CJ run wraps around the ring?
I think he's gonna find a sub at some point in this spot. Personally, I think CJ's a decent fighter. Like, he's tough. He has good cardio. He's a decent striker. I don't really rate his takedown defense, and I think his grappling offensively is not bad. But defensively, I think he made a lot of mistakes, and he kind of struggled with grappers. I know that he struggles against Tyra, who's a very good grapper. That's Liam Boy. We know that. But yeah, I just think that CJ's like, he's someone that can be submitted on the ground, and I know that's exactly what Asu's going to be looking to do. And to be honest, his UFC debut against Ode, I was impressed with his top pressure, with his submission skills and ground and pound, everything. He looks composed, and more often than not, when we see these prospects making their debut, the first fight's never the best one. It's always like the worst performance. The dude got to finish in the second round, look good doing so. And I expect him to be looking even better in his second fight here personally. And yeah, he's not the best striker, but he does have some power. He throws the overhand rights, and he's small, but he looks to be very strong. And like I said, his top control is very good. I love his grappling. I love his ground and pound. He knows what he's doing. I love the way he passes and everything. And yeah, I mean, Ode to CJ Vergara, they always fought together, CJ and Ode, and that was a close decision. But I think they're kind of on the same level, and he has shown me to be able to finish this level of competition in his first fight. So yeah, I think he's gonna find a finish in this spot, and I think CJ path to victory is probably like a close decision. With that being said, we're talking about numbers here. I think he's minus 575 now. Last time I checked, let me just confirm. Yeah, so he's minus 575. I wouldn't have played that, but I have him in a parlay myself. I got minus 350 a couple days ago. I think he was a good parlay piece, but now minus 575, I don't think it is. If anything, you look at the sub, but plus 125, it's not good enough for me on Bet Online. Maybe you can get plus 175 on another book when the props drop. So yeah, I'm gonna pick him to win by sub, but minus 575 is now money line wise is got to be Dogger Pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna just to piggyback on you. That's my pretty much read is the same. I think Asu wins by sub. When CJ Vergara gets up and gets up from a takedown, he always gives up his back and tries to fight the wrist right away. He doesn't go for a traditional get up. So giving up his back against this guy Asu, it's going to give him opportunities to ride him and wear him out, and then I think he finds a sub on his back. Key, you got anything different here?
No, I agree with the panel. I think that this is an Asu spot. I've had success betting Vergara in the past, but this isn't one of those times.
Liam, anything different here?
Liam's the grappler out there, so I'm curious to know what you think about this grappling.
Yeah, not too many different thoughts here. I mean, I'm not a big CJ Vergara guy. I think that if you look, he's a guy, number one, you got to watch the weigh-ins. This guy doesn't make weight half the time that he's fighting in the UFC. On top of that, he missed weight by like 4 or 5 pounds, tried to cheat against Tyra. Still got embarrassed in the grappling there. Just made him last a little bit longer, I would say. But when you look, like what I've seen from Vergara, the chin's not great. The durability is not great. He's basically outlasting bad fighters on cardio. I think Asu Almabayev, if he's going to lose this fight, it's probably like a knee to the body. Like CJ Vergara, that's the one thing he does well. He just grabs a hold of people, fires off knees in the clinch. He did just body Bruno Correa, I think it was on Contender Series before the fight ever really got going. So, I mean, it's still flyweight, right? It's still a small enough guy. Asu has quit one time when he was fighting Tagir Ulanbekov back in the day. And somebody brought that to my attention. So I went back and watched the fight. But if you look, Tagir was way bigger than him. He still tried to take Tagir down 10 times, but Tagir was just 2-3 steps ahead in the grappling. I don't see that happening here. I think he's going to be too much in terms of the physicality as well as in terms of those positions technically on the ground. I think he's going to be just ahead of Vergara the whole time. So the only thing is I don't want to get too cute with the method because I think he could get to a dominant position, TKO him. I think he could submit him. So I think he's going to win and probably do it inside the distance.
Nice. All right, let's go on to our next fight. This one's probably a setup fight here. We got Robelis to Spain 4-0 versus Josh Parisian. Robelis is 6'7". He's 35 with this 87-inch reach. So I think it's probably the biggest in the UFC ever. Parisian 15-7, 34, 6'4", the 79-inch reach. You can get Robelis anywhere from minus 330 to minus 300. You can get Parisian anywhere from plus 275 to plus 250. Key, I'm going to have you start this off with these two big boys. I mean, it's pretty clear Robelis is going to win inside the distance, right?
Yeah, I think Robelis round one. This is an obvious setup fight. Kudos to anybody who got, I think it was minus 150 on round one KO. I think that's around minus 205 now. That was solid value. In my opinion, that was the only way to play this fight. So I'm passing on everything now, but I'm excited to see if he can live up to some of the hype here and give us another exciting knockout.
What if Parisian gets a takedown? I mean, it's not impossible. It's not likely, but it's not impossible. What happens if that happens? What do we think, Robelis? Does he have a get-up game? Is he going to be a fish on his back? What do we think? Anyone?
Yeah,
I think you have to. I'll kick it to Liam here.
He go ahead, Liam. What do you think of the grappling of Robelis?
I was going to say, I mean, it's definitely a layer of speculation, right? It's not in the evidence, but what I can say is I've seen videos of him moving around. He doesn't look like he's a complete spaz or like he lacks athleticism on a basic manner. And honestly, I think Josh Parisian is not a very athletic heavyweight. So I think his path to victory is eating a bunch of damage and sticking around like he did against Alain Badeau. But even in that fight, I thought he was eligible for stoppage, and Alain Badeau stinks. So
yeah, I agree with Key. Also, the round one KO is probably the way to play him, but it's not minus 200, minus 250. It's just I think we should not be betting on this fight. At the end of the day, he's making his UFC debut. He's 35 years old, and we don't really know about his cardio. Not going to say it's bad because we don't know it's bad, but we just don't know. And I also don't want to play Parisian to find out. I don't think the guy's good at all. So, yeah, just a big pass fight for me.
If I was going to lay chalk on this fight, the only thing I'd say is I would just take the under 1.5 rounds, because like if this guy doesn't finish, he probably does like end up getting laid on by Parisian and quitting or something. Like that's the way that this kind of fight goes. You know, if he comes out there, spazzes, throws 100 strikes and doesn't finish, and then Parisian just lays on top of him, is he really going to like show some guard game and some get up or hold on? He's probably just going to quit. Like it's heavyweight.
Definitely.
So that's kind of my gut feeling, is like, more often than not, this fight should resolve in 7.5 minutes, whether it goes well or goes poorly. You know,
yeah, I agree.
If you don't want to get cute with it, then I would just leave this fight alone.
It's chalk as fuck now. It's minus 285.
But that's what I'm saying. Would I rather lay 285 on Despain, who might gas out in a minute and a half, or lay minus 285 on the under 1.5? I'd rather have the under 1.5 personally.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. It's probably the way to go on this one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm probably not going to bet this. I'm staying off. The only way to play it was, I mean, what did they open inside the distance for Robelis at? Minus 250 was that opening line drive, right? Wasn't it minus 250 for him to win inside the distance?
I think it was something around that. I'm going to confirm to you, but I think
like he said, I think you have to play the first round knockout if you're going to play this fight. I'm not going to touch it here. I'm just going to enjoy the highlight reel, hopefully.
So the KO opened minus 275.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they know.
So let's go on to the next fight here. Tapology has Felipe Lin's Ion Cutelaba. Sounds right?
Yeah.
So Felipe Lin's 17-5, 38-6'2" with a 78-inch reach. Ion Cutelaba is 17-9. He is 36-1 with a 75-inch reach. You can get, let's see. So you can get where is this? You can get Cutelaba anywhere from minus 120 to minus 140. You get Felipe Lin's anywhere from plus 120 to even odds. Liam, I'll start you off first. Does Ion go for a round and a half in gas here, or does Felipe find the finish?
I have no idea. I would not lay chalk on Ion Cutelaba. I don't trust him as a fighter. I don't trust his decision making. 6-8 in the UFC, terrible record. Fumbles the bag a lot. Gets submitted by guys that aren't great. So I just don't really trust him to do anything well. He throws punches, right? He attempts offense, but he could gas out in 5 minutes and then just be left holding on the rest of the fight. I don't rate his wrestling as being altogether special. So I feel like Felipe Lin's at heavyweight, undersized, maybe wasn't showing up on steroids, maybe didn't really care. And now I feel like when he's cutting to 205, we do get a better product from him typically, but he's had a pretty easy strength of schedule. I picked him by knockout round 1 against OSP. I bet him against Maxime Grishin, who I think is not very good. So I just think that this is another winnable fight for him, but the plus money is shrinking on him, right? It was like plus 130 when he fought Maxime Grishin. Now it's like plus 115. And Ion Cutelaba is more dangerous early than Maxime Grishin. So for me, don't feel compelled to play it, but lean towards the underdog here.
Definitely. Drav, you got anything different? Key, what are you guys thinking, both of you?
I mean, me and Key both backed him last time out. Difference was he was we both got plus money on him, but now he's at chalk. I don't really like that. I just feel like he's the finishing outside in the first round for him is very high in this fight. I know that Linz has not been finishing in a long time, but like Liam said, he didn't fight fighters that are gonna really be a threat for him to get finished in his last couple fights. But yeah, he's 38 years old. I think he's clearly on steroids now. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a good chin. I know we didn't see that recently, but he doesn't have a good chin. And I know for a fact that Cutelaba is going to give me a good 5 minutes and is going to go for the kill early. Rather be ground and pound or knock out on the feet. I think he's live to knock him out early. If he doesn't knock him out early, then the fight can turn a little bit tricky. So the props are not out yet, but I'm going to be looking into Cutelaba first round KO. I think it's probably going to be around plus 300 or something. And it's pretty decent if you ask me, because I think that's probably the more likely outcome. And if you look just how many KO in the first round that Cutelaba has in the UFC, that's how you win. I know he got like 1 or 2 decisions, but he has 12 knockouts in the first round, and most of them are in the UFC. And if you look, Felipe Linz, I'm not trying to wiki cap, but that's still true. He got knocked out in the first round 3 times. So that's how we tend to lose, and that's how Cutelaba tend to win. So that's something to be look for. And now if you add the age, the power, and the aggressivity of Cutelaba early, I'd rather be on the KO1 than the money line at chalk personally. But yeah, I'm gonna be winning, and I'm gonna be waiting, and it's all depend on the number. If they give me like plus 175, plus 200, I'm not gonna play that. But plus 300 or something, I think that's a good bet. So yeah, I'm gonna be waiting for the HUDs here on the props.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was going to wait for the inside the distance line. I probably won't even play around. I would just probably play the inside the distance line. Keep it simple. Play it that way.
Yeah, but I think he only has. I mean, the guy has all his finishes in the first round. Expect one. One of them is in the second round. So, and it's all knockouts. I'd rather be on the KO1 at big plus money than picking like the ITD at plus 120 or something.
Yeah, Felipe Lynch has like relatively decent BJJ, so he's probably going to be able to prevent the sub.
Yeah, he's a black belt, but I mean, people talking about his takedown defense being great because it's like 100% on paper or something, but we don't really know about that. He didn't really fight some grappler or wrestler that are going to try to take him down. I backed him last time against Gershian at plus money, but that's a different matchup and more dangerous for Cutelaba early.
I agree. Key, anything different here? Or on to the next. I think he's frozen again.
Oh, Key, I think you're back. We don't hear you, though.
All right, we're moving on to the next fight. Michel Pereira, 29-11, 30 years old, 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. He's fighting Mikal Dravi. Finish it for me.
Oh, I'm not good, but it's Oleksiejczuk, I think.
I think that was pretty good. He's 29. He's 6 feet, 74-inch reach. You get Pereira anywhere from minus 140 to minus 156. There's been a buy-in on Mikal. You get Mikal anywhere from plus 128 to plus 115. Drav, I'm going to start you off. Do you think Michel Pereira imposed his will on Mikal, or do the body shots of Mikal actually wear down Pereira and the pace of Mikal kind of slows him? What do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of a tricky fight. I know that a lot of people like the dog in this one, but I'm on the other side here. I love Pereira, and there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, we know that I'm going to call him Oleg for Oleksiejczuk, and I'm going to call Pereira so we don't get confused with the Mikal and the Michel. But yeah, Oleg, he's a good boxer. He goes to the body, he's super aggressive, and he's dangerous early. He was fighting at 205 before. Now he's fighting at 185. That's better for him because he was undersized at 205. But yeah, I don't think he's a big 185er. That's kind of funny. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. Pereira used to fight at welterweight. He was a big fighter at 170, but now at 185, I think it's better for him. And he's gonna be bigger than Oleg, which is kind of funny. Welterweight versus light heavyweight, but he's the bigger fighter. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Oleg's good boxer. He goes to the body, he puts good pressure. That can cause problems to Pereira. But if you look a little bit deeper, he struggle with people that has good footwork and good lateral movement. For example, the Modescus fight, right? I'm not too sure that he won that fight first of all, and yeah, he kind of struggled to cut distance, to cut off the cage at time, and it's gonna be in the big cage, so we need to factor that. And I said he's a good boxer, that's true, but I think he's more of only a boxer though, because he doesn't really kick, he doesn't shoot takedowns. He's tough and he has good boxing again, like I said, but he doesn't have much other than that. On the other hand, you have Pereira that, yeah, he's a flashy striker, but I think that now he take his career way more seriously than he used to. Just if you look on his Instagram, I'm sure that Liam did. Like the dude training camp look fantastic. He's in fantastic shape. He looks to be doing the right thing, which I love to see. And also, I talk about the weight class change. We know that Pereira used to kind of gas in the third round at times before, but I think he was killing himself with the weight cut. So I think it's better for him to go up a weight class at 185, and I think it's going to help his cardio personally. On the other hand, I'm talking about cardio now, so let's go a little bit deeper. Pereira has won a lot of decisions in his career, especially in the UFC. But if you look Oleksiejczuk, he doesn't go the distance often. And if we put it a little bit deeper, he was fighting at 205 the last time he went a distance, and we don't really know what his cardio is going to look like with the big weight cut that he has. I don't think that's a big one because he's not big for the division, but still he has to cut weight. The guy doesn't go the distance often, so we don't really know about his cardio at 185 in the third round. He'd never been there. So yeah, and maybe his durability is going to be affected because of that. He got cracked a lot by Chidi last time out, but the dude is tough. He's going to be hard to put out. But I think Pereira's style is going to be tricky for him because he's going to be the one moving. Oleksiejczuk going to need to pressure him often. And Pereira, to me, when someone pressure him, he's going to be the way better striker at distance, right? So that's the first thing. He has a lot more tools on the feet than Oleg. He has kicks, he has knees, he has everything, right? So I think when Oleg's going to try to pressure him, Pereira is going to be able to land a knee or something. He's going to be able to dance on the outside with the big cage, and I think he can knock him out. I think that's possible. I know that he has a lot of decision win in the UFC, but I still think that he can get a knockout here. But also, I give him all the wrestling and all the grappling upside, like 100%. He's a black belt. He doesn't show it often, but the dude is strong, and I think he can get takedowns here. I don't rate Oleg grappling at all. I think his grappling is very poor, and I think his takedown defense is decent. But if Pereira won, he can get takedowns easy, and I think he can choke him out if he wants to. I'm not too sure he's gonna go there, but I still think that he can win by decision. I think he can win by submission, and I think he can win by knockout. On the other hand, I'm not too sure that Oleksiejczuk is gonna win by decision. I'm sure that he's not gonna win by sub, and I think a KO is probably his path to victory. But Pereira has shown to be very durable. He has shown to we don't count the Dusko fight because that was a weird look outside the UFC that he got KO by him like that. But yeah, again, I just think that he has more ways to win. I think that he's the bigger fighter. I think that he has all the grappling and all the wrestling upside, and I think the big cage favor him. So the odds are close. I play him at -135 myself. I think that was a good number. But yeah, I know a lot of people love the dog, but yeah, I'm on the other side and I'm quite confident in my read here. So I don't know if you guys agree, but yeah, man, deep breakdown, but I had a lot to say.
Liam, what do you think? Are you on Mikal or Michelle?
So this is the fight that I don't anticipate that I'll have an investment on, but I did mention on my show, if I was to get to any kind of bet here, it'd probably be just a contrarian small play on the Michelle Pereira by submission prop. I do think there's a pretty big level difference between these guys on the ground. I've never really liked Oleksiejczuk's grappling. I believe he's a blue belt or a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Trains with the guys at Ankos MMA. Is trying to make some improvements in that regard. The Jan Blachowicz of the division, even a guy like Makhmud Muradov, been working on his wrestling over there as well. But I just have never really seen it from him. The Caio Barajo fight I thought was like a clear setup for Caio, right, to go out there and get the win. But we've also seen against Chidi, black belt, was able to go out there, deal with some tough shots on the feet, find the big knockout shot himself. He's a dangerous guy. He's fought tough guys at 205, stands in the pocket with them. He's not afraid to fight at all. So the thing I don't like about Michelle Pereira just long-term is that I think he's kind of a bonehead at times. Like, even if you look at some fights he's won, the Nico Price fight comes to mind. He could have been disqualified in that fight. And it's something I never hear anybody else talk about, but like, you can't just backflip onto somebody's head. That's a foul, right? And it's like Nico Price just being a nice guy about it, being like, oh, whatever, oh, shucks. Like, that's just one thing, but it's like, most guys don't do that. And like, the fact that he didn't put him away, like those kind of things, that did bother me. But I also just don't really see a massive, tool that Oleksiejczuk can bring to bear here, right? I think Pereira better footwork, to Dravy's point. And then if we see him go for takedowns, I think he'll get him. So it's like, I think he has a lot of different tools to bail himself out if he's under pressure in this spot. But the reason I don't want to lay chalk is just I've seen a few examples in the past where he lost to a Tristan Connolly at like a 145, right? Is he past that? It looks like it. But then the other thing that gives me pause is just the weight miss, right? Like, this guy was what, 1 fight, 2 fights away from a welterweight title shot. I mean, if you go out there and beat Wonder Boy, you get one more big win, you're right there. Yeah. And instead he misses weight for that. And then now he's up at 185, like starting all over again. But last time he got a big win, and I didn't expect him to blow through Petrosky like he was no big deal. So that's the other thing that makes me just say, I don't have a great cap on this guy. I'm going to leave this to the professionals.
Yeah. Key, how about you?
Yeah. Well, going back, I think
first, what would you line Michelle Pereira versus Chow Brajo?
That's tough because I'm not a big fan of Bohalio. Yeah, I'm not sure there.
I'd probably make Chow. Chow would be the favorite, I think.
Slight favorite.
Yeah, I mean, me too, probably. But I think Pereira can crack him on the feet for sure. But yeah, I just feel like Borao is probably able to control him or maybe potentially get his submission. So I personally say Borao minus 150 or something like that. But yeah, not like too confident about it.
And Barajo has competed at light heavyweight as well, so he's not a small guy. I think he would be favored there, probably like minus 150 to minus 200 personally.
Yeah, that's fair. He made me a lot of money, Borao. Talking about him, I bet him by submission against Oleksiejczuk. Talking about that, but yeah, man, what do you think, Peg, about the fight? You're on Pereira with me, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm on Pereira. Pretty much everything that you said too. I think the footwork will be there to hit for Michel Pereira. I think he'll have, like you said, the grappling advantage. He'll have the pace advantage. He should have the submission advantage. He could win a decision. I mean, that's 2 past victory, and he's live for a KO. I think Mikal has a very good chin, so I don't think he's really going to be the KO. I think that's probably less likely, but like 3 past the victory at minus 150, I'll take that pretty much every time. My worry is the body shots. I don't know why. It's just the body shots on Mikal. And think about Michel Pereira when you look back at the tapes. To get his game going, he does need a little bit of space, and Mikal will push you on the back foot the whole time, get you up against the cage. That's where I kind of get worried. I mean, he could use the knees in the clinch. He's very explosive. He could probably try and find something there, but I don't know. I could definitely see Mikal giving him some troubles, like close in the clinch.
By the way, we forgot something on this one about the training camps.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, because
I
mean, Oleksiejczuk doesn't have a good training camp. I heard that he doesn't have coaches anymore. He's training by himself with his friends. That's a terrible look, dude. Yeah, that's not a good look. And on the other hand, Pereira has extreme couture. He's based on his Instagram. He's having a fantastic camp, and he's in great shape, taking everything more seriously. To your point, Liam, I think that he's not the same fighter that he was before. He's doing like a lot of less flashy stuff that he was doing. He's not like doing backflip and stuff like that anymore. I think that he's more composed, and I think that he's more ready now for a run or something, because he was young when he was doing these things, and I think he realized that it's now or never now. He needs to go for it. But yeah, the outside, I mean, outside of that, I don't affect my capping too much because of what I've said, because we don't really know how much is going to change about both of them, right? But it's just a little something you can add up on your capping to be more confident on Pereira's side. I already had my bet locked in, but when I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's even better now.
All right, Key, anything different on here? Or do we move on to the next one?
I taped this fight super early, about like 2 weeks ago. And I went into it wanting a Pereira bet, and just couldn't get to it. Macau just he crowds your space so damn much that's the only thing that worried me personally. Pereira does need space to get going. That front kick, I think, will be huge here. The teeth to the body will be huge here. But I think that if I had to choose, I think there's a Pereira spot, but I wasn't willing to pay at the time. I think it was minus 150. I personally wouldn't want to play it unless it gets to like minus 125 or so. And I also know that I missed the Cutelaba Lynn's fight. Personally, there I had a Cutelaba plus 140 bet the first time they were matched, I think. And I wanted plus money again. Betting Cutelaba at favorite money is just nasty work. I refuse to do it. So if that doesn't go back to dog money, I'm not touching that. So yeah,
I think it's a better one to stay off too. Let's go on to the next fight. This one's going to be a good one. So we have Pedro Munhoz versus Kyler Phillips. Pedro Munhoz is 20-8. He's 37 years old. He's 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Kyler Phillips is 11-2. He's 28. He's 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. You can get the action on Pedro Munhoz anywhere from plus 174 to plus 200 on Betway. Kyler Phillips, you get minus 204 to minus 250. I'm going to start this one off first. I kind of I think that's like, if there's a dog of the card to pick, for some reason I find myself taking Pedro Munhoz. I think this is a big step up in competition for Kyler Phillips. I think that the pace that Pedro can set if he stays in his face will give Kyler Phillips a hard time. I think Kyler Phillips is very good at striking. He's got very good takedowns and very good subs. But I think he's really good when he's fighting at his own pace and in his own style and kind of imposing his will. I think if Pedro's actually pushes the pace on him, this could be definitely different. I actually played Pedro Munhoz by decision plus 425. I don't really see Pedro's knocking out Kyler Phillips. I don't see him subbing him, but I do see him winning a decision. I think it comes down to the volume. And I think it depends on if Kyler Phillips can get the takedown and if he can get his striking going. He really depends on that long jab because obviously he has a pretty long reach for the weight class. He's a pretty big guy, but he doesn't get that started. The way he stands sometimes, I think the leg kick will be there for Munhoz as well. I kind of think Pedro's probably one of the bigger dogs in the card, and I think that's probably where I put my money on a dog for a pay-per-view. Who did I start with last time? Did I start with Liam or did I start with Jav?
I don't know. You can go with Key because he didn't start.
Key, go ahead. What do you think? Kyler Phillips or Pedro Munhoz?
I think there's a Phillips spot. Personally, I have no interest in playing at minus 204. Kyler, from all accounts, from what I've heard, it seems as if, and based off of film too, it does seem that Kyler's BJJ is pretty legit. I'm interested to hear Liam's thoughts on it. But I think that there's a Kyler spot. I honestly want to see. I hope that he continues to stay active because I really want to see him in some fun matchups coming up. But Pedro, savvy vet, we know that he won't fuck off. He's going to be in his face. I'll be interested to see how Phillips deals with some of the pressure.
All right, Liam, break down the BJJ of Kyler Phillips, the Matrix. What do you think? Do you think he finds the sub here against
honestly, I think it would be a huge mistake for him to try and use his BJJ at all in this matchup. Wrong guy. Pedro, best guillotine in the division, are arguably certainly top 3, right? And maybe in the history of the bantamweight division as well. Cleaned up Rob Font with a shocking quickness, hurt him. Then as soon as Rob goes, I'm a wrestler now. Find out the hard way then. Just rolled him over into the mount, had him dead to rights. And you look at the way that he, attacks people. There's a lot of fearlessness to the game of Pedro Munhoz, right? He's just coming forward, swinging and banging in the pocket, not afraid to get into exchanges, not afraid to throw back. So when I look at Kyler Phillips, like this is a fight I think he's got to manage, right? I don't think this is a fight he's going to go out there and try and kill this guy. I think that'd be a mistake. I think he should try and manage his energy. I think he should pace himself, try and move around the outside because Pedro is just a handful, right? He's very hard to put away. I've tweeted before, I believe he's got the best chin in the history of the bantamweight division. I mean, you look at the names he's fought, the murderers row, the former champions, the guys that are all high-level strikers, they're not putting him away. They're not finishing him, right? You look at Kyler Phillips. I mean, yeah, I was there for the plus 550 sub on Marcelo Rojo, but like we're talking about guys from the, Latin regional scene to elite BJJ practitioners. Different story. So I think for this fight, the wise move, sprawl, brawl, keep it upright, move around the outside, be faster, be younger, don't get hurt, and win the fight. But I also think at the price, there's enough concern I have about how this looks down the stretch. We've seen Kyler Phillips start to slow down round 3, right? Start to have those moments where he falls off a little bit later in fights. A lot of that skirting around the outside, moving all the time, it's just very hard to continue to do, right? We see guys like Dominic Cruz that made it 5 rounds many times. They start breaking their feet halfway around. It's like you can't do that kind of bouncy movement all the time. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your lungs. So I just feel like Kyler's got to fight really smart and fight a perfect fight here. And so at the price, I'm not compelled to bet it. Yeah.
Drive anything different?
Yeah, I think Pedro's a good dog. I didn't get there myself on a bet, but I kind of feel like I missed the line, first of all. When he was plus 200, plus 210, I think it was a good bet. Now the age, a worry for sure. I think Kyler Phillips very good. I think that he has. We know that Pedro struggle at distance. We know guys that has good footwork and can fight well at distance has caused him issues. So I think that Phillips going to be able to do that. But my worry is I think Pedro's going to have success with leg kicks, and I think he's going to be pressure on him. And normally, Kyler Phillips use takedowns to like secure rounds, and he mixes up his game really well because I think he's a good wrestler. I think he has good grappling. But like Liam said, nobody is kind of shooting on Pedro, and there's a reason for that because of his guillotine and his grappling is very high level. So I don't really see Phillips being able to land takedown or controlling Pedro on the mat. So yeah, if that's a striking match, we know that Pedro has been in this game for a long time. We know that he's very durable. We know that he's going to be there for 15 minutes, and he has the better cardio and he fought better competition. So it has to be dog or pass for me on the money line. And I kind of feel like I have to assume that Pedro win the third round because I've seen Kyler Phillips slow down massively in fights. But in some fights, I've seen Pedro look quite bad in round 3 as well. So that's kind of tricky. He doesn't have bad cardio, but he doesn't look as good in third round. His style, I don't know what it is, but he's getting touched up a little bit more in the third round that he has been in. So yeah, to me it's dog or pass. So Pedro's the side, but I was able to get a good number on the over 2.5. So I used that as a parlay piece. I got minus 205 on the over 2.5. So I talk about the round 3. I think if Pedro finish him, it's going to be in the third round. So I have half of that with the over 2.5. And if Phillips finish him, he's going to be like one of the first guy to finish Pedro in the UFC. I mean, the first guys to finish him. So I don't think he's going to finish him. I think he's going to go the distance at like an 80% clip. So for the over 2.5 at minus 200, I think it was a big misprice. So I was happy to just take that rather than picking a side in a fight that I think is going to be a close fight. But if we talk about value, we talk about picking like the good side. If we talk about numbers, I think Pedro Munhoz has to be the side. But yeah, of course, Matrix, Kyler Phillips, he's a good fighter. He's much younger. And yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Great. Going on to the next fight here, talking about grappling. We got Mateusz Gamrot, 23-2, 33, 5'10 with a 70.5-inch reach. He's fighting RDA. He's 32-15. He's 39, 5'8 with a 70-inch reach. The action on Gamrot's anywhere from minus 400 to minus 500. RDA is anywhere from plus 369 to plus 335-ish. Liam, so do you think the young age of Gamrot, the constant grappling and pressure, you think it's going to be too much for RDA after seeing him get, out grappled by Luque not too long ago?
Honestly, man, I don't think that this fight is as easy to call as a lot of people do. When I'm looking at a fight like this, I'm looking at a guy that I've backed many times in RDA, right? Good fighter, very solid, and not ancient history, right? He was fighting Renato Moicano. They're flying him out on short notice, and I was like, good effing luck to Renato Moicano. I was like, where is he better? He's not better on the feet. He's not better on the ground. He's in for a very long night, right? In 5 rounds as well. I was like, this guy didn't have the cardio to go with him. I thought that RDA, like midway through round 4, like wanted to stop hitting him because he was like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, let me mercy stop myself right now from hurting this man. So he's like out there, like just playing patty cake with him a little bit in rounds 4 and 5. Cause I thought he didn't want to kill his fellow Brazilian brother. But to be honest with you, like he kind of slowed down a touch at the end of that fight. I looked at that and I said, like, RDA still looked like $1 million there, right? That's against a guy who's still a relevant contemporary 155 pounder. The thing is, when you look at this guy at 170, he's too small. He was never big enough for 170. And I had said this a million times. Now, the last time he cut down to 155, it was another 5-round assignment, very brutal. And he goes against Rafael Fiziev. I was like, bad matchup for him. I don't think he's taking down Fiziev, right? Fiziev's not going to want to wrestle. So it's like, all right, now I'm relying on my takedowns, my offense, can't get it to the ground. So I had Fiziev there. I had Fiziev ITD. I still didn't think that that was as clean as I was hoping it was going to be, right? I thought that was a lot closer and more competitive round for round, minute for minute than I was expecting it to be. And then he killed him in the 5th round. And I was like, oh, thank God. All right, now I can just count the money and be done with it. But I'll tell you, like, fading RDA, not a fun feeling. Like, normally a pretty difficult guy to put away. Look at the Colby Covington fight, right? A guy, he's the best. He's the champion in waiting. Go back and rewatch that fight. Rescore that fight for me. Tell me what you come up with. Thought it was 48-47, Colby Covington. Very close win against RDA. Guy who's supposed to wrestle and grapple at this high level. He was out there having competitive wrestling and grappling minutes the whole time. So, again, Vicente Luque, no small man. Very big man. Also, very credentialed grappler that no one ever talks about that. He's submitted good guys. Darce choked good guys. He's very dangerous. So I look at the fact he goes out there, he gets outworked for 25 minutes by a guy who's twice his size. Okay. Like, does that mean he sucks at fighting now? It doesn't tell me that, right? So when I look at this, I say weigh-ins are important for me, right? If RDA comes in and he's just like a dead body on the scale, okay, then I'm going to have to just be like, all right, it's probably not going to work out. But he's a guy that is disciplined. He's a guy that is a former champion. He's a guy that is probably on every steroid you can imagine, right? USADA, goodbye, see you later, not coming back. So they are now checked out of the building, right? RDA is now like, hey, Patty Pimblett, what are you doing? Like everybody's starting calling people out. He's looking jacked again. My man's back at 155, probably on diuretics. Like I'm just thinking to myself, okay, have we seen this story go wrong before for Gamrot? Maybe people haven't been there. I have been, right? Guram Kutelaba. I had an injury. I had this, that, and the third. Okay, minus 300. There was no apology. There was no letter in the mail. Nobody sent me my money back. Okay, so you didn't get it back, right? How about against Beneil Dariush? Well, that guy's looked great ever since, right? No, he hasn't bought a win since. He's been knocked out brutally in the first round by everybody else he fought. And the only guy he looked very good against was Gamrot, who he put in a body bag, right? And Gamrot, thank goodness for him, woke back up. But he literally got slapped down like he was getting shot by a gun. That's one of the worst shots you've ever heard because he ran straight into it. Like Beneil Dariush loads it up in slow motion like he's a baseball pitcher and goes, ding, and just whacks this guy across the head. He falls face down. Like, is that minus 500 to you? Because it's not to me.
No, not at all. Good points. Good points. And like you said, RDA is a professional, man. He's going to show up, and he's going to bring his A game. And my only thing I think from the Gamrot side is, that relentless pace. That's the only place where I see they just weighing on a 39-year-old guy is just the pace and the pressure. But hey, he doesn't get discouraged and like other grapplers would, where you miss a few takedowns and it's just like, you know what, maybe I can't get him down. Gamrot's not going to stop. That's my take to why he's probably the handle that he is. I think it's a little too wide now, and kind of like you were saying, you're getting RD. I played Gamrot when he was around minus 300 in a parlay. I want to say I got him at minus 298. But right now you're talking about getting RDA in what's going to probably be a grappling match at plus 369, 350. Like, can't beat that, something like that. Key, what do you think here? You got anything different? Do you think Gamrot runs through him?
I wouldn't say run through. I personally didn't feel comfortable throwing Gamrot in a bunch of parlays, as it always feels like he's just one bonk away from not justifying that price. I did play his over 3 takedowns for about 2 units on Prize Picks, and then I also took his sub at plus 1,400. At plus 1,400, do I really think that he is a high probability to sub RDA? No. But at plus 1,400, I'll take the guy who's going to end up in a ton of scrambles and probably win a lot of these scrambles to justify that price. So I'm fine with that long shot there. And then over 3 takedowns, with how much he chain wrestles and how relentless he is, I don't think that should be an issue here.
Drav, how about you? What made you take Gamrot if you did?
Yeah. First of all, we have I think 15 or 16 live viewer here, but we only have 6 like on the video. What's going on, guys? Come on, like the video. We out there. It's 11 p.m. giving up bets, breakdowns for you guys. So make sure you like the video, please, and subscribe to the channel. But yeah, talking about this fight, I did bet RDA. I agree with Liam about a lot of points, but I have Gamrot at minus 250 in a parlay, so that we're talking different number. We're not talking about minus 500. It's completely different. We're playing number minus 250. I think it was a great parlay piece because RDA is a great fighter, former champ, everything, but I think career trajectory and momentum is important in MMA. And we're talking about a guy in RDA that is now 39 years old and has said himself, I think a year ago, that he's not cutting back to 155 anymore. He doesn't want to fight against these prospects anymore. He wants to fight at 170, and he wants to have some fun fights, Brian Barberino-ish. And then he fought Luque, and Luque is a good grappler, to your point, Liam, and he's a big dude, but he doesn't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle fuck people like that. That was kind of surprising to me to see him do that to RDA. But then if you look a little bit deeper in his career, RDA struggled with guys that are taking him down. He's a very good grappler, but he struggled with his takedown defense. That's what lost him a lot of fights. I think he's too small for 170, but I still think with the weight cut, it's going to be hard for him to perform and to match Gamrot cardio and pace at 155 at 29 years old, because I don't think Gamrot's the best striker. Don't get me wrong, but I can trust him to shoot 20 takedowns if he needs to, and to have the cardio to do that. And my problem with him is he doesn't have the best top control, but I still think that he's pretty solid, and he's on the way to fight for a belt. So he better beat RDA, because this fight doesn't mean much for him, in my opinion. So yeah, man, I think Gamrot's gonna be able to dominate. To be honest, maybe RDA can catch him at some point on the feet, but Gamrot's gonna be shooting, and I don't really rate RDA takedown defense that much. And yeah, Gamrot just relentless with it. So I'm not sure that he covered minus 550 or whatever it is, but I think he wins this fight at a high clip, and I think 70 to 75% was probably justified. But yeah, man, he should win a decision probably. But the sub prop at plus 1400, I think it was worth it, because of the fight's going to be on the ground for the majority of the time. He's going to be shooting. He's going to end up on top. And he has good grappling, Gamrot. I'm not too confident that he's going to sub RDA, of course, but he's going to have opportunity to do so. So that's for sure.
You know the worst beat I ever had on a Gamrot fight, boys? I had Gamrot by sub round 2 against Carlos Diego Pereira. And if you remember that fight, he throws a knee to the body, breaks his rib, locks in the rear naked choke, and Carlos Diego Pereira goes, "My ribs." And they stop the fight for a TKO. I was like, no!
Oh, wow.
But mentality, man. I hope that somebody cashes out here. Plus 1400 on the sub. Good luck, boys.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's definitely dog or pass at this price for sure, especially with the dog you're getting in RDA. Let's go on to the next fight and keep this moving along here. Next fight, we have Katlyn. I believe she likes to go by Chukagian when it's professional, but she's also married to Kyle Sermonera. She's 18-5. She's 35, 5'9", with a 68-inch reach, so she's not 36. I was wrong earlier. Macy Barber, she's 13-2. She's 25, 5'5", with a 65-inch reach. Right now, the line we have is you can get Katlyn Chukagian anywhere from plus 185 to plus 160. You get Macy Barber anywhere from minus 195 to minus 230. Key, you're going to start us off with this girls fight. Are you going to be taking my girl Blonde Barber? Blonde fighter? Sorry, Blonde fighter.
Blonde Barber, okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Barber's gonna show up blonde in the octagon. And
there was a barber shop under my old apartment in the city called Blind Barber, which is why I got that confused. But Key, go ahead, take us away here.
Yeah, no, I think the any Chukagian bet here is a good bet. I personally don't rate Barber super highly. I did have Hebas against her last time out, and she damn near killed her. But I think that Barber fights harder than most people. I think that she's just super aggressive. I think that she is a dog. She's not somebody that I want to play at minus 200, though. There's not enough clear paths and enough skill differences, whether that be on the ground or standing, for me to think that minus 200 can be justified outside of she just completely dogs her and gets around 3 KO. I think the Chukagian bet is the right bet here, but it feels like it might be a value loser almost every time. But so it's hard for me to place. But this isn't a fight that I want to back Barber heavy in.
Liam, what do you think? Do you think Blonde's a good dog here going in? After how long is she? She hasn't had that long of a layoff, right? People are talking about
almost a year and a half.
Okay, so that's long, but not crazy. What do you think, Liam?
Honestly, this is one where I have to do like some medical research. This is going to sound silly, but like there's some things that are just hard to know physically about Katlyn Chukagian coming into this fight. She said, and I'm not trying to make light of any of this, but it's a reality, right? When we're talking about women's MMA, there's certain things you have to handicap that you don't have to handicap in men's MMA. Like somebody misses weight because of their menstrual cycle, right? These are just realities of fighting. If you've been around long enough, you know these things, right? But when you talk about somebody that took a year and a half off, it's one thing if she's like, hey, I got some surgeries. I fixed up my stuff. She said, I was going through fertility treatments and I've dealt with 2 miscarriages. How is that going to affect your health coming into the fight. How is that going to affect your durability? I have no idea. That's the long and short of it. But does it make me feel confident? Does it make me feel bullish to go back somebody when they're saying, like, I'm basically taking a mental and physical break from my fertility treatments to take a cage fight? No, that does not inspire a ton of confidence for me, frankly. Now, on the other side of things, is Macy Barber a super reliable chalk favorite? No, that's the God's honest truth, right? She goes out there, she fights nip-tuck fights, close, she gives up takedowns, she gives up bad positions, lets people on her back, things that are not plus EV, minus 200. Last time out, plus 175 against strawweight? Yes, please, we'll have that every time, right? I love Amanda Hebos, one of my favorite fighters at 115. Right? Against Katlyn Chookagian, I truly believe that was one of the worst robberies that I've ever been on the wrong side of. It was a close fight. I thought it was a 50-50 fight where I had the plus 160 underdog and I didn't get paid, right? I was very upset about that. She spent most of the time on top, dominating the positions. But what did we see? Too small, doesn't do enough damage on the feet. And that was what ultimately cost her the fight. I think the difference is when you look at how Amanda Hebos is not able to get off with damaging shots on the feet, you could say Macy Barber doesn't land that well. Neither does Katlyn Chookagian in terms of what impact she's having, right? She can throw and just make a bunch of noise, make a bunch of contact. But is she hurting people? Is she busting them up? Is she cutting them? Is she doing damage? Is she leaving that impact with the judges? Oftentimes, the answer seems to be yes. But I do worry that in this spot, the more impactful strikes will be coming from Macy Barber. I think Macy Barber could land 1, 2, 3 shots to the body that change the complexion of the fight. And the last time that I did bet against Katlyn Chookagian on the money line was Jessica Andrade minus 141, right? So a much better price against an even more dangerous puncher. But in that fight, guys, she was getting spun around. She looked like a top, right? She didn't want to be in there. She was like making visible reactions every time she would get hit. She'd be like, oh, like, no, not for me either. So I can see visions of this fight being really close decision. I can see visions of Katlyn Chookagian thinking this is going to go one way and then she gets bodied and beat up pretty bad in this one. So just have to do a little more research here, but not going to be taking Katlyn Chookagian. For me, if anything, I would look for maybe a contrarian finish prop on the Barber side.
She had she did most of her camp actually at Alliance BJJ in the Bronx. I know you're a New York guy, so you kind of have a general idea. So she did most of her camp there doing a heavy grappling based camp, which I was kind of surprised about. Usually you see her down with, is it Henry Bell down in Jersey and Tom Rivers? Is that Coach Henry Bell? Is that his name? Right. They usually spends most of her time down there in striking. She did a wrestling based camp this time. I think we could see some big grappling here. Because obviously, you know, like you said, Macy Barber can get taken down. I think Chookagian can keep having minutes on the feet. I'm not really too worried about a finish. I think what I will play is I'm waiting for FanDuel to drop it is the plus 3.5. If you can get Blonde Fighter plus 3.5 at plus odds at any point, I think that's the way to play it. Job, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have a super good read on who's going to win the fight, but if there's a finish, I agree with Liam. It's going to be on the Barber side. So our KO prop at plus 480, I think it's a good look. It's hard to handicap because of the things going on outside of the cage and before the fight for Chookagian in this spot. And when you have a girl like Barber that is strong and that's dangerous in the clinch, I think it can play a factor because Barber's not the best striker at distance, but she does hit hard in the clinch. She has good elbows, good knees. She kind of goes to the body. But yeah, I don't rate her takedown defense that much. And Chookagian is kind of tough to beat at distance striking. So more often than not, I think it should go to distance. And if they go to distance, I think we're going to have a 29-28 decision either way. With that being said, value is probably on the dog. Chookagian doesn't finish people. So if you like her, I think you can bet decision prop. It's plus 240 on Bet365. You can potentially get odds around that. I think it's better than money line. But me, I was able to get the plus 3.5, like you talk about. I got plus 130 on the plus 3.5. So to me, the fight just need to go the distance, and she needs to win one round. And she's a good minute winner, so I think she can win a round comfortably. I don't think it should be plus money, and it's not anymore. I think it's minus 130 or something, minus 150. Yeah, so I think if they go the distance, she wins a round at a pretty high clip. So plus 3.5, plus 130. At the current odds, I will be looking at either Barber KO plus 480 or Chukagian decision plus 240. I think that's the way to go. But yeah, it's hard to be too confident on either side. To be honest, probably going to be close, but Barbara has all the finishing upside, and she's much younger, more active. So yeah, man, I'm gonna pick Barber to win, but I'm not confident.
Death, taxes, Katlyn Chukagian by decision. Been doing that for the past 5-6 years. Probably gonna have to do it one more time while I'm still there. Let's move on to the next fight. Next fight is Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida. This seems to be one of Twitter's fights of the week that no one can get a good read on. Curtis Blaydes is 17 and 4. He's 33. He's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. Jailton Almeida is 20 and 2. He's 32, 6'3" with a 79-inch reach. Action on this is you can get Jailton Almeida anywhere from minus 105 to minus 115. You can get Curtis Blaydes anywhere from minus 103 to minus 115. So they're making you pick a side here, which kind of makes sense with how Twitter's talking about it. Drav, I'm going to have you start us off. Do you think Jailton Almeida is going to get the takedown here and Blaydes is going to look like a fish off his back? We've seen him get taken down before. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this fight could go a lot of different ways. It just depends on how you see it. But to me, I think that Blaydes' fight IQ is not the best. He kind of strike when he should not be striking, and he wrestle. Maybe he's gonna wrestle when he should not be wrestling. In this spot, he's clearly the better striker. He's the bigger guy, more natural heavyweight. But I mean, he has been fighting striker lately, like all striker, and he's the wrestler. So he's able to take these people down if needed, but nobody's really shooting on him. So that's kind of the part where the fight is tricky. But you need to go you need to go way back in the fight with Cody East, where Cody East went 3 for 3 on takedowns, and Volkov took him down in the 4th round. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say his takedown defense is very good or his takedown defense is very bad. I kind of put it right in the middle. I don't think it's garbage, but I don't think it's good. I think it's just average maybe. But he didn't have to train that. He didn't have to prepare that for all of his career. So he improved his striking. That's what he did. And that's what he needs to do. So props to him. But I don't think he worked on his grappling. I don't think he's a good grappler. Very good wrestler offensively. Decent top control, good ground and pound. But the guy doesn't go for submission. He doesn't know how to take it back. So yeah, in this fight, I think the difference in the grappling is ridiculous. And I can count on Almeida to shoot takedowns. He's going to be shooting takedowns here. I'm pretty confident in that. And I'm also pretty confident that he's going to be getting the takedowns personally. The guy is a freak. He's on probably all the steroids. We don't really know that, but he used to fight at 205. I think now he put, yeah, probably, right? So, yeah, he used to fight at 205. I think now his weight at heavyweight is good. He's around 240 or something. But the difference is he's way faster than these guys. And in transition in the grappling, it showed that he's just ahead of these people. And yeah, I just feel like he's going to be able to take him down. I think he's going to be able to get on top. And when he gets on top, what Curtis Blaydes is going to look like off his back, we don't really know. But I tend to agree that he's going to be a fish off his back with the guy that is a high-level grappler like Almeida. Almeida, what he's going to do? He's going to do the Donkey Kong, right? You're going to pound him out, and then Blaydes going to turn the back, and he's going to snatch the neck. Blaydes has never had to deal with that in his career. And also, very important here, I talk about career trajectory a lot, right? We have a guy in Blaydes that had his opportunity in big fights. He dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. He was in the number 1 contender fight last time out. What happened? He got knocked out again. That's a guy that doesn't have a good chin. We know that, but also a guy that struggled in big fights, in big moments. Almeida, he has all the momentum. He's on a massive win streak. I know that he didn't fight the same level of competition, but still, he has all the momentum and everything, right? So they were supposed to fight a couple months ago, before the Derek Lewis fight for Almeida and before the Pavlovich fight for Blaydes, right? They had it minus 200 for Almeida, plus 160 for Blaydes, something like that, right? What happened since that fight? Blaydes got knocked out in the first round. Almeida dominated Derek Lewis 50-44. Now they line the fight again, minus 110 apiece. What's going on? Can somebody explain me? People are mad at him because he didn't finish Derek Lewis. That's what happened here. But if he dominated him, that's what he did. 50-44. He dominated him over 25 minutes, which is good to see because we didn't really know about his cardio late in fight, but he just proved me that he can wrestle and look good doing so for at least 15 minutes without any problems. So in this fight, I think that his striking's iffy, right? We don't really know about his striking. We can't assume that it's very bad, but I mean, he has decent kicks. That's all we really know, right? We don't really know about I have to give Blaydes the striking advantage. But again, Blaydes' chin is not good. Maybe he can get cracked on the feet. Who knows, right? But more often than not, the way I see this fight is Almeida's going to be the one dictating where the fight take place. He's going to be the one shooting takedowns, and he's going to be landing the takedown more often than not. Now, do I think Blaydes going to try to get back up? Maybe he will, but I think he's going to go back again. And I think Almeida is going to get on top at some point. And I think he can knock him out on the ground with ground and pound, which he loves to do. And I also think that he can submit him. And I also think he can win a decision. On the other hand, I think Blaydes' path to victory is probably to defend the takedown and stay on the feet and find a knockout. Maybe he can land takedowns himself and get on top and knock him out with ground and pound. But I don't think he's going to control Almeida for a long period of time. If you go for takedowns, I think he's going to get reversed. So, yeah, I think Almeida's the spot here. I don't agree with the line at all. Like I said, I think he can win by KO, sub, or decision. I think Blaydes' more likely path to victory is probably a KO. I guess he could win a decision, but I don't really see it. And, of course, he has no submission upside. So, yeah, in this fight, I think Almeida's going to snatch the neck. I think he's going to find a submission. And people love to back Blaydes. They always love to back him. But, yeah, he just got knocked out. Coming back after that, how his mentality is going to be like, we don't really know. And it's not the first time he got knocked out. A lot of times. So the damage is... He took a lot of damage. So, yeah, man. And I can't really trust... I can't trust Blaydes anyways. Fight IQ is not good. So I can count on Almeida to do what he needs to do. And I think that's get on top, get the neck, go home. And, yeah, man. He should dominate, in my opinion.
So I'm going to give you guys a little treat. If you guys like that Almeida by sub prop, it's what? Plus 280, right? Plus 320 on books?
It's plus 300, but I think on FanDuel, they just opened
450. It's plus 4. No, I'm sorry. Plus 425 on Bet Rivers, Fanatics. If you guys want to grab it, it's there.
Yeah, someone just told me about this. Buncor actually DM me about Almeida sub.
Liam, you're the submission guy. What do you think? Do you think Jelton finds a sub here, or how do you see this fight going?
Yeah, I've been taping this fight a lot today. And when I looked at the fight, my gut instinct was that Almeida was going to win this fight. I'm not a big Curtis Blaydes guy. I've never been a big Curtis Blaydes guy. And I actually thought that of the fights that he's had recently, the Pavlovich one was a much more winnable fight, right? When you look at Pavlovich, he's a dangerous guy. He's a scary guy, but he's a very upright boxer, right? And we haven't really seen him tested in the wrestling and grappling. When we did see him tested, he got taken down by Alistair Overeem and dominated, right? And Alistair Overeem beat the shit out of him and finished him. So we've seen examples of you could get on top of Pavlovich and give him problems, right? Also, Pavlovich got caught out on the feet, right? He landed a couple decent shots against Aspinall. I thought he could win that fight, but then he got caught cold, caught clean. So if Curtis Blaydes was going to be one of the best strikers in the division, it's a winnable fight, but he's not. So he went out there and instead didn't shoot takedowns, right? He shot one takedown against Pavlovich. It was already too late. He looked like he was already off balance a little bit when he was starting to shoot. Then he goes out there, gets finished, right? And that's kind of just par for the course when you look at his career. He fights the best guys. He gets finished, right? He's always expected to win. Francis Ngannou gets finished in the first round. No problem. Run it back again. Make him a favorite again. Gets finished again. It's just like this guy has been everybody loves him every time, and he just doesn't win these big fights for the most part, right? Now, on the other side, is there some speculation with Jelton Almeida? Yes, but let's also just compare common opponents against Derek Lewis, right? This is something that I feel nobody's discussing. Derek Lewis, minus 400. Curtis Blaydes should have every opportunity, right? Easiest fight in the division for him, except that he shoots no takedowns. He stands there looking uncomfortable, striking on the feet. He's winning every striking exchange, looking as uncomfortable as you can imagine. And then as soon as he goes to panic shoot, he gets easily read and knocked out as he's coming in. And by the way, if you listen to that, guys, I'm not trying to make light again, but it's harrowing. The man's laying on the ground just They cut to commercial. It's 3 minutes later. My man is just groaning. He's asleep for minutes and minutes and minutes. Harrowing stuff. If that wasn't in the Apex, you'd have just heard the crowd and everything. It's in the Apex. There's nobody there. Yeah. It's just a man snoring for minutes and minutes. It's really uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when Curtis fights these guys. Jailton Almeida got knocked out one time on the regional scene a long time ago. Could it happen again? Absolutely. Have we seen a lot of evidence of that? I mean, let's see how he mitigated risk, managed risk against a guy like Derek Lewis. He said, I'm not going to get out in these random exchanges. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to dominate positions. I'm going to make sure there's no ambiguity here. Easy win. Clinical. Yep. Didn't look very dangerous, right? Wasn't sweating the whole time. Wasn't, I'm on the edge of my seat. No. He's like, hey, guys, relax. I got this. No problem. I'll just lay on him. It's all good. Now, is he going to do something like that to Curtis? No, I don't think so. Right? I think Curtis will be more mobile off his back, right? Derek was like, let me go turtles. Let me go elbows in. Let me not get exploited here. And I think he just was content to not get finished. I think Jailton was content to not sit up and try and go for big damage. He was like, what am I going to do? Take a big risk against this guy? No, thank you. I think against Curtis Blaydes, you can take more risks and have more success. I think that in this fight, you brought up the Cody East fight. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of examples because most guys don't want to wrestle with Curtis, right? Most guys don't want to scramble with him. Is Jailton not going to want to do those things? I think he would absolutely welcome those. And I can just tell you guys, when you look at guys that are 185 and 205, on average, they're better skilled fighters than heavyweights. Heavyweights, by and large, are terrible. They have no skills, okay? Jake Collier takes these guys to the ground and starts submitting them like he's a Mundial's black belt. Is that what it is? No, they just have no skill. They've never been on the ground. They're like, what's happening? Get off me. Most of these guys don't want to be underneath somebody, okay? They panic. And I think that for Jailton, that's the difference here. I think that he has more paths to victory because I think if he gets put on his back, is there a chance he gets ground and pounded? Sure. Is there a chance he sweeps? Yes. Is there a chance he reverses position? Yes. Is there a deep half guard series that he knows how to work? Yes. Do I expect any of that from Curtis if he ends up on his back? No. I expect him to be trying to hold on or trying to get back up desperately or panicking and making a mistake because that's what I've seen from him his whole career of just making mistakes under pressure. So you make a mistake against Jailton Almeida, he makes you pay. I think he could do the, donkey punches, just sitting on his chest. But I think more often than not, he's going to take him down. He's going to ride his wrist. He's going to pass the guard. He's going to take his back. He's going to finish him.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Key, any different here? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this is a Jailton spot. We seem to be all locked in on that spot. I won't go too far deep. I think that he's the plus athlete here. Curtis has never dealt with anybody this good in the grappling sense. I'm interested to see if we can get any extended exchanges on the feet from Jailton. That would be interesting. But I personally got him at plus 100 in December 2023. I bet this really early. So I got this at plus 100 last year. Him at plus money period is fine in my opinion. I did play the sub at plus 380 on FanDuel. And I do have on Underdog Fantasy, I have him to get more takedowns than Blaydes. So I'm pretty confident in the way that I play this fight. This will be a pretty big money fight for me. So I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah. Kind of similar to what all you guys said. I think he's going to be quicker on the transitions. He's going to get the takedowns. He's going to go for the takedowns. And like we said, I mean, we saw lesser guys taking down Blaydes. So I think he'll have no problem getting him to the ground. I was on Curtis Blaydes when this fight was first booked, plus 150. I was like, finally, Jailton's going to go against a wrestler. He's going to have to be forced to stand on his feet. The Lewis fight comes along. He dominates him for 25 minutes. Everyone hates him for some reason because people don't appreciate, good grappling, strong position over submission grappling. Like, it's very hard. And I'm like, Liam knows how hard is it to submit someone that all they're trying to do is survive and not get submitted. It's almost impossible. Just protect your neck, turtle up. You'll be okay. So getting into this fight, I was along with Key. I got the plus odds very early in December. And I actually love it here because this line is kind of showing bias where people hate him. They want to bet him. And, they made Curtis Blaydes relatively bettable for people Vegas kind of set people up with that, made them very bettable. People love to take the plus money against a guy they hate, and that's kind of how the line ended up where it is. I'm going to be playing the Almeida sub as well. I'm waiting on 2 more books to drop it, see if I can get better odds. I may just play the Bet Rivers plus 400, but I'm kind of just waiting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm glad we all kind of like Ochio just said, we're all on the same page. That's usually a pretty good sign or a horrible sign. So we'll see how it goes. Next fight, Peter Yan, 16-5, the People's Champ, 31-5-7 with a 67-inch reach versus Song Yadong, 21-7-1, 26-5-8 with a 67-inch reach. Action on Peter Yan's anywhere from -115 to -135. Song Yadong is anywhere from +111 to -105. Key, I'm going to have you start us off first. I mean, Peter Yan's going to put on an absolute striking clinic, and it's going to make it look easy, right? Do you think the same?
I wish that would be the case here. I'm as a Yan fan, I wish that they would give him an easy get back matchup here. To be fair, I do think that his only serious or true loss is his last fight versus Moroz, where he just got absolutely washed. I did play him at -170 there, and I thought that he would look great. And I still just have not learned my lesson fading Moroz. I think that this is a spot to sit back and watch, honestly. If Yan got the dog money, which it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen, even though they keep on flirting with that pick'em price, I would probably want to bet Yan. I can't confidently bet either guy in this spot. Song, nobody knows his true age. I think that there's this myth going around that he's 26 or however old. Nobody knows that guy's real age. Let's be honest here. So I think this Song is a plus athlete here. I think Yan is a better technical striker. Sandhagen today was just talking about how Song by far hit the hardest out of anybody that he's taken a shot from. So I'm not willing to bet against him here. This is a fight that I'll gladly sit back and watch. It's the perfect event for them to have it at.
Drav, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to pick a side. We don't really know how Yan's going to bounce back after the multiple losses. I know we can make argument that he should not be on. He could have won, for example, the Almighty fights and stuff like that. But still, mentally, we don't really know. I know that he had trouble with his training camp before, with his coaches, everything. Now it looked like he's good, looked like he's in shape, which is nice to see. But we have Song that has been active, is on a win streak. He has all the momentum, and he's a good fighter. He's fast, he's aggressive, he's a good striker, and he's very durable. So is Peter Yan. They're both extremely durable. Peter Yan, I think, should win the fight because he has more tools on the feet. I think if anyone has wrestling success, it's going to be him, and he's the way better kicker, the way better kickboxing, and I think that he's potentially the better boxer as well. So yeah, it should be a win for him. But I'm kind of confident that it's going to be a 29-28 decision either way. And it's close to a pick'em now. So I don't really want to lay any side at pick'em. I think pick'em is probably justified. I mean, if we knew that Peter Yan versus Sandhagen, like he looked good in that fight, but Sandhagen was on short notice. And we don't really know in what form he will show up. So that's kind of my concern here. But I think he has more tools. I think that he's better at distance. And we know that Song doesn't like fighting on the back foot as well. So Peter Yan, I think, should win the fight, should win by decision. But they're both very durable and have good cardio. So I think the over are also a good look. So yeah, man, I'm gonna pick Yan by decision. Maybe you can try to bet his decision prop. I think it was plus 155 on Bet365. Maybe it's a way to go. If anyone got a finish, I mean, might be surprising, but I think it's Song Yadong if anyone get a finish. But I don't think he's gonna finish. Yeah, I mean, the dude hit like a truck, and he has a brick for a head. So, and like I said, we know that Yan mentally maybe he's not all there. He came in his last fight with potentially an injury. So yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna get finished. I think he go the distance at a very, very high clip. But I tend to think that if someone get a finish, it's gonna be Song. but I just don't think somebody's gonna get finished here. I think it's gonna decision, and I think Jan win the decision.
Liam, how about you?
I find myself in the uncomfortable position of thinking Petr Yan might actually win a UFC fight, right? I bet against this guy, I think, 3 of his last 4 fights. The only time I lost betting against him was the Corey Sandhagen fight, right? Common opponent between these two. And I had plus 225 on Corey. He got his ass whooped, right? 5 rounds, got dropped, got hurt, got hit with big shots. Jan looked like a better, more clinical striker than him, built into the fight very well. I thought round 1 was close. About the end of the close fight for Corey Sandhagen, and then it was a one-sided ass whooping the rest of the way out. So I do think when I look at how Song competed very well over 5, but it was a lot more close. It was a lot more nip tuck. I did cash Corey Sandhagen by knockout against Song Yadong plus 450. Obviously a little bit lucky with the KO stoppage due to the cuts, but also Corey Sandhagen's a very violent guy, right? He's throwing a lot of knees, elbows, things that can cut your face. So I did think that was part of the path, right? He could do that. Now, when I'm looking at this spot, I say to myself, that was still a sweaty fight, right? He still got in Corey's face. He still pushed. But you look at the broad strength of schedule, it's been way harder for Petr Yan in these recent fights, right? Fighting champion after champion after champion. And I bet plus 270 on Aljamain Sterling. Thought that was an insane price in the rerun. And Aljo, I had a lot of receipts on that, right? Like Aljo said, I got surgery. I was weak in the last fight. You see it. He looked physically weak against Jan in the first fight. He looked strong like himself in the second fight. So I think that was just, hey, you know what? Maybe people underrated Aljo. Still a super close fight. Still a 5-round. Like, who won that one? I don't really know. Thank God I had the plus 270 and we got it over, but still a close fight. Then you look at the fight next time out, Sean O'Malley. On the night, I was sure it was a robbery. 100% sure. On rewatch, it's like, all right, no, it's not a robbery. It's a close fight. Left it within the margins. But we talk about it all the time. When one guy has a clear round and then the other guy wins 2 close rounds, it's like, that's close, right? That's lucky. That's a little bit within the margin. So, yeah, maybe he goes out there and justifies, hey, plus 200, that was the wrong price. But now a guy that goes from being minus 250, minus 300 against every top-level guy he fights in the UFC, he's minus 120 against a guy who I was telling people a year and a half, 2 years ago, Song Yadong's going to be a top 10 guy. Song Yadong's going to break into the division. But frankly, I could just say as a Song Yadong guy, what the hell was that last time? Chris Gutierrez should be a win, a finish, an easy wrap for you. Should not be 5 rounds of holding on and getting on top and, not passing the guard very much and kind of being boring and lazy. That's what I saw. So for me, I want more from Song Yadong. I think this is a prove-it spot for Song Yadong. I think it's a big opportunity. But he was supposed to get this in a main event setting, over 5 rounds, give him more time to work with. Now, you got to be ready from the jump, 15 minutes. This is a guy that slowed down before in 15-minute fights. We've seen Song Yadong get walked down and beat up by Chito Vera, who's fighting in the main event, in the 3rd round, right? He started to slow down. He didn't want it no more. Petr Yan, we've seen him build into 5-round fights, no problem, several times. So is this a spot where I think Petr Yan is going to be losing his 4th fight and getting cut from the company? I mean, that seems like a lot to ask, right? And, I just don't know that I see that fall from grace. I haven't seen that kind of regression from Petr Yan. He's still looking like he's strong, physical, and wants to be there to me. And losing to Moroz Dvalishvili last time out, that's like a consensus top pound-for-pound guy. The fact that he closed plus 225 was an insanity to me, and I bet him in that spot. So it's like, again, every time out that there was an opportunity to fade this guy big plus money, I've been there. And Song Yadong's my guy. But now at minus 110 to find out if he's the next level, if he's going to break through, it's like he could lose his fight and still fight for a title. He could lose this fight and still win 2-3 fights and get there. So it's like, I don't think this is the make or break for Song Yadong that it is for Petr Yan. Loses his fight, he's not in the elite anymore, and he's going to be fighting for his job next time out. So I think this is a big prove-it spot for Yan, and I don't know what to make of that. I haven't seen that. I know he said that in the past, but, not a fight that I feel bullish on betting unless it flips to plus money. But I am curious about this line movement. It's been interesting to me.
Good point, Liam, about the O'Malley fight. I agree with you. Everybody said that it's like the worst robbery of all time. And I bet Petr Yan by decision in that fight. So don't get me wrong. If I think it's a robbery, I'm going to say it. But I think it's a 29-28 decision either way. Like, it's very hard to say who will win the fight. I think maybe Yan was more clear than O'Malley, potentially. Like, it's not a robbery, guys. A robbery is a fight that the guy should not be winning at all and win the fight. That's different. It was a 29-28 fight. Either way, super razor close, and they gave it to O'Malley. But yeah, I've seen too many people talking about this fight being a robbery and Yan 30-27, 29-28. But yeah, I don't agree with that. So good point on that.
So I'm on Peter Yan. I think he's going to win it just because it's going to be a striking fight. You look at Peter Yan historically. I, unlike Liam, was on the opposite side. I've been on Yan every single fight. I've also capped, Song Yadong very well. I was on him against Julio Arce, against Moroz, against Ricky Simone, against Gutierrez. I was on Corey Sandhagen when Corey Sandhagen fought Song Yadong. So I've kind of capped these guys pretty well. The way I see this fight with Peter Yan is, I would say 5-0 against strikers because I thought he won the Sean O'Malley fight. Obviously, he could have been either way. I don't think it was a clear, blatant robbery like people say. But even give him that loss, he's 4-1 against elite strikers, whether it be Sandhagen, whether it be Sandhagen, it was Sean O'Malley. Any of these like top strikers that he fought, he does pretty well in. This is one of those fights where he's not going to have to worry about the takedown as much, and it's going to be a striking fight. 3 rounds, like we say, he slows down. He's slow to start in 5-round fights. He's not as slow in 3-round fights. I think he sets his pace a little bit better, but I don't think this fight, Corey, I don't even think this fight's going to hit the ground. I think Yan is going to look great here. I think this is exactly what he wants. I think he's going to negate the leg kicks of Song Yadong. He's going to pressure him, get him going on his back foot. I think he's going to win a decision here. I don't see him finishing Song. I think this is going to be a close 29-28 Yan fight. It's definitely going to be close, but I think Yan's aside here. Like Liam said, this is a guy that you're constantly getting over minus 200. Now he opened. People are saying like, oh, he's minus 135, or he got to minus 160, and then it moved to 135. Now it's at minus 115. He opened plus odds as a dog and made his way all the way to 160. The line doesn't move like that early on because public's betting Peter Yan. It moves that way because sharper bettors are betting him early. I don't know. I kind of think Yan's aside here. I'm happy with a minus 115 ticket. Like Dravi said also, play the decision prop. I think that's probably the way this goes. Corey, if it hits the ground, who do you favor? I mean, I would favor Yan, but I don't think anyone's going to get anyone to the ground and sub anyone here. So yeah. I don't think anything crazy.
I think Yan has the wrestling upside, but Sung has showed the ability to be hard to control on the ground, though.
People are writing off Yan. Sure, he's been on a skid. He's been fighting the best of the best, and he's only 31 years old. He's not like some old man. He's 31. He's in his athletic prime. I think like this is either going to be like his ticket out, or it's going to be his turnaround fight, and now he's right back in contention going towards the top. I would love to see he wins this fight, give him Umar. Make it Umar versus Yan. That's what I would want to see next. Because now you got him against the grappler again, and I would want to see him prove himself. Yeah, Umar's probably going to get him down, but guess what? We just saw what happened to Umar last fight when he got clapped, and people were like, "Oh God!" He was pretty shook in that first round and turned right into a grappling clinic just like that. So that's the fight I think if the UFC were going to carry it on if he gets a win here, I think that's the way you kind of set that up. Moving on, because it's crazy. We still got 4 sick fights left on this card. Next fight, we got Gilbert Burns, 22-6, 37, 5'10 with a 71-inch reach versus Jack Della Maddalena, 16-2, 27, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. Right now, you can get Jack or JDM anywhere from minus 161 to minus 174, and you can get Gilbert Burns anywhere from plus 145 to plus 135. Drav, I'll have you start us up here. How worried are you that JDM is going to jump to a guillotine yet again and get put right into a head and arm choke like he has been in three of his fights so far in the UFC against a guy who is like a Pan Am grappler and might actually finish that head and arm choke if it ends up there? What do you think, Drav?
I'm not worried. I don't think he's going to jump guillotine against Burns. If he does, he deserves to lose, so that's up to him. GDM is still young. I think that he's the type of guy that's been improving from fight to fight, and he's going to learn from his mistakes. And his corner, when you go back to the corner, his coaches was like, bro, what are you doing? They were so mad at him. So I'm sure that he heard like the jumping guillotine, like they gave him hell in training camp for not doing that, I'm sure. Because his takedown defense is good. Like Hafez went 3 of 20 for takedowns against GDM. I think his takedown defense is pretty solid, and I'm also confident that Burns is not going to be shooting 20 takedowns here. He's going to be shooting, probably. He needs to. But yeah, there's a 10 years difference between these two guys. We have a guy in Burns that has been fighting for the title, has been in a lot of wars, 37 years old now. Durability is an issue, always has been an issue. And yeah, I think that GDM is going to box him up on the feet. I think it's not going to be competitive. I think the jab is going to be landing. I think the body shot's is going to be there. I love the way GDM goes to the body. And people are kind of low on him because he went back-to-back split decision. But we need to factor the fact that he fought two guys that are very durable, and the fight should not be split decision. He clearly won both fights. So yeah, I think that he's going to be the better striker here. I think he has a big durability edge. He's 10 years younger, and I think he has more finishing upside on the feet personally. Okay, yeah, Burns can potentially get him down, and if he does, we have seen Jack in bad position. Burns can submit him with the arm triangle, but again, how likely it is like to Burns to submit him? I think it is more likely path to victory, but I don't think it's gonna happen at a high clip. I think more often than not, he stop the takedown, they strike with each other, and when they does, GDM is gonna. We know that Burns doesn't react well to jabs. I don't think his durability is good, and he didn't fight a striker like that. So yeah, GDM much better boxer. The power is gonna be too much. He's gonna be way more durable. I think he's gonna jab. He's gonna hurt Burns. Burns gonna be worried. He's gonna panic shoot. It's not gonna be working. And then GDM is gonna go to the body. He's gonna hurt Burns to the body, and the end's gonna drop and the kill shot's gonna come. So I think he's gonna knock him out. I think it's gonna be inside 2 rounds. The under 2.5 is solid if you want to cover yourself. I think it's better than GDM moneyline at this point. You can get minus 150 on that. You cover GDM KO and Burns sub, which is likely. I think GDM can potentially win a decision if Burns just survived like he did in the Khamzat fight. But in the Khamzat fight, he survived. But that's like, I mean, Khamzat was just swinging big shots, and he was trying to kill him. GDM is way more technical and a way better striker. So yeah, he's gonna be able to find his shot. His timing is very good and he's very fast. And I love the way he picks his shot and how he makes the target. So yeah, man. And Hafez is a strong mofo, dude. He's a strong guy and he's probably on the juice and he's durable as shit. Like he hits some bombs. I'm confident that Burns is not hitting that and surviving. So yeah, man, GDM by KO for me. At these odds, I don't think it's good anymore. I got GDM plus 110. So I did my job here. But now, if you want to bet him, I think you go with the KO prop plus 165, or you go with the under 2.5 minus 150 to cover both sides.
Nice. Liam, what do you got here? What do you think of, obviously you're a fan of Burns' grappling as anyone who does practice. What do you think? Do you think he gets the head and arm choke here?
I think that Burns is overrated as a grappler at 170 pounds. I know that's going to sound a little bit wild, but like, let's just call it for what it is, right? You look through the record of achievement at 170, not at 155, at 170. Who has he submitted that's good at grappling? All righty. And that's all. I'll just leave it there, right? There's nobody. So, right. He submitted Neil Magny. God bless him for it. I bet him to do so. Neil Magny is a fish on the ground. Let's just call it the way it is. When you look at the top guys, not average guys, the top guys that really know jiu-jitsu, elite black belts, they're eating Neil Magny on the ground like a quick meal. That's every time. So when you look at that fact, that didn't surprise me. That was step 1, step 2, step 3, and it's over. Somebody who's way better at jiu-jitsu against somebody who's way worse. I think that for Jack Della, he's not a quitter like that. I don't think he's a guy that's going to give up if he's put in a bad position. I've also always said there's no being a tough guy about a choke, right? You just go to sleep. So I think the way that he loses this fight is he gets caught in a head and arm choke or something like that, right? Maybe a rear naked choke. Gilbert is a guy that can be crafty. He could hop on something quick. If that does not happen, I think he's going to have a very hard time winning this fight, because I look at Gilbert and he's out there like struggling to take down and hold down a guy like Wonderboy. everybody's saying, oh, I mean, that was a great win for him. Did you see him go out there and get that decision? Wonder Boy is 40 years of age, my brother in Christ. Okay. The guy has been fighting forever. He got knocked out by Anthony Pettis at 100, like a 55 pounder that hasn't been relevant in 12 years. Like, I'm sorry. But when I look at some of these, breakdowns on this fight, I'm not seeing it, right? Like, I think Gilbert Burns, fine fighter. I think he's a tweener. I think if there was a 165-pound weight class, maybe we're having a whole new discussion, right? But I think that at 170, he's too small. I think at 155, he was cutting too much weight. He couldn't deal with the cardio, the weight cut. How did it go the last time he fought in Australia, by the way? He got knocked out in the first round. Dan Hooker said, hold this knee if you don't mind. Bing, see ya. So I look at this fight and I say to myself, Jack Della has been put in bad situations, right? I tried to fade him one time. Ange Lusa took him to the ground, got him in a head and arm choke, looked like it was wraps. The guy just didn't panic, stayed patient. And the second he got back up to the feet, he made him pay. He said, oh, you want to go for that choke, huh? How's this? Here's these body shots. Here, back up a little bit. Hold this one. I don't think that's going to go well if it's Gilbert Burns on the receiving end of those shots. This is a guy that his best moment at 170 was landing one big punch against Kamaru Usman, and then Kamaru Usman sat him down and embarrassed him in the second round. He gassed out completely by the second round of that fight. Bilal Muhammad, right, is a guy that you would think like, hey, you know what? A guy who just is a basic all-rounder, right? Good at everything, but an all-rounder.
Injured.
Are you not going to be able to do anything? Are you not going to be able to do anything to that guy with 1 foot? Exactly. So for me, that was an indictment of Gilbert Burns, 37 years of age. I don't see him changing a lot right now. I just don't believe it, right? I'll believe it when I see it. This would be his best win, I feel, at 170. So good luck.
I agree. Key, what do you think? Anything different here?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I have a JDM bet on Prize Picks. I think that he passes his test with flying colors. I'm interested to see the matchups after this win. Let's say round 2 KO. Who would y'all give JDM after this fight?
Michael Venom Page. Off a win. Yeah, that's what I think you do. Striker versus striker. Well, who else are you going to give him?
He did call out Shafkat though. That was he put his ball on
that would be a nightmare for him. That would be a nightmare for him.
Give me GDM versus Ian Gary. I want to see that.
Yeah, I like
after he finished.
That's cool. I like that one too.
Yeah.
About you, Liam?
I'm not sure. I'd have to give that one a little bit more thought for who JDM should fight next. Let me pull up the welterweight rank.
Go ahead. Let's see. While Liam's pulling that up, I played the under 2.5 minus 112 on FanDuel a while back. I played JDM minus 120. I think he's going to touch him up with the jab, probably sit him down with the jab, and he's going to rip him to the body with body shots, finish him with a left hook to the body. I think I told Dravi that January that it was going to be a left shot to the body. I think it's going to be relatively similar. I think Jack's going to kind of eat this guy alive.
How about Colby? Let's wake his ass up. See how he's doing.
I love that, but I think aren't Gary and Colby trying to set something up together, like where they both want to fight each other?
Yeah, Young Gary won that fight, but I'm not sure Colby's going to take that.
I don't know. Where do you put Colby next? Want to give him Shavkat? Like, I don't think anyone wants to fight Shavkat.
He doesn't want that.
I don't think anyone wants to fight Shavkat at this rate.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's move on to the next one. Next one, we got Big Mouth. We got Kevin Holland, 25-10, 31-6'3" with an 81-inch reach. He's fighting MVP Michael Page, 21-2, 36-6'3" with a 79-inch reach. The odds on this right now, you can get MVP anywhere from plus 118 to plus 100. You get Kevin Holland anywhere from minus 129 to minus 140. Key, you're going to start us off with this one. I know you love striking like this. Who do you think is going to win this? I've been waiting to hear what your take is on this one.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan.
Yes, sir.
I've made a shit ton of money off of Big Mouth. If he didn't have a top 5 chin in the sport, I probably would side with MVP here. I do think that Kevin is stupid enough to not grapple at all. And I don't necessarily think that he has to win. I think there'll be a close decision. I think that we're going to get a little bit lower volume than we expect because, number one, they're going to be talking their ass off in there, and both are showmen. So I think that we're going to waste a little bit of time there. But I also think that MVP is low volume, looking for a big shot, looking for that big blitz. Kevin Holland, what I don't like, he has a really weird entry into the pocket with this like skip knee sort of thing where he skips into the pocket and is winging shots from there. I'm interested to see if he continues that because I do think the MVP can find him with the right hand. Otherwise, I do think this would just be a sort of a fun, close fight. If there's a way to play this, I don't think that it's money line. I actually think it goes to decision, goes the distance at -145 is a decent price. Like I said, I think that Michael Venom Page talked about today in his interview that they're going to have the first In Cage podcast. And I tend to think the same. I think that they're going to be a lot of talking, a lot of showing, a lot of dancing. So I think they'll waste their time all the way to a decision here.
Yeah. Well, okay. People are forgetting about this too. I just want to ask Liam. I'm gonna ask you that. I always ask you the BJJ questions. He's a Travis Lutter. Is he a purple belt or a black belt? I think it's a black belt on a Travis Lutter, right?
Black.
People are. What if he grapples? What if he goes for a submission? Like, what if he pulls that trick? Like, he can definitely do it. What do you think with that? Do you think that's a chance here?
Well, I mean, I do think that it's a little presumptuous, right? A lot of people think like, oh, if Kevin grapples here, it's a wrap. And I'm just like, are we totally sure about that? Like, who's done that to Michael Venom Page?
Yeah.
All right. And then it's like, that's the follow-up question I never hear is like, all right, yeah, who's the guy that easily out-grappled him? Didn't happen, right? So the guys that have gone out there and beaten him, he got knocked out once. He got kicked off, like his legs kicked out from under him. I know Paul Daly took him down a couple times. Paul Daly was like, yo, I ain't want to strike with this guy. F that, right? He's just out there shooting takedowns from round one. And then you look at some of these other fights, right? Logan Storley. I mean, who's a better wrestler? Logan Storley or fucking Kevin Holland? Like, I'll take Logan Storley if they go put on the headgears, right? I think it's not going to be close. So when I think about that, I'm like, that guy didn't easily run him over in the grappling. He didn't dominate him either. No. What does Kevin have to offer? Limb length, right? He's a guy that's long. He's got awkward transitions. Great Darce choke. By the way, free money when he just Darce choked Michael Chiesa, who loves putting his head in a Darce choke. But it's like, again, like that's a guy that wants to grapple. All these guys that want to grapple Kevin, he's like, yeah, bring it on, do whatever. Like he just brings the energy of, you want that kind of fight? All right, let's do that kind of fight. And that looked good for, a minute and a half against Khamzat Chimaev, and then he was all lost all over the place, gets finished. He looked good against Brendan Allen in the first, 2.5 minutes of the grappling, and then Brendan Allen was like, yeah, forget all this. I'm taking your back, and that's enough of that. Then you look and just see Kevin's not really that good in deeper and extended grappling exchanges, right? He's a guy that has the skills to beat anybody or lose to anybody. And so I look at Kevin as a guy who's very volatile. You give him a Tim Means, you give him a guy in Alex Cowboy Oliveira, he's got 19 mouths to feed, he's got 50 other things to worry about. He's going to beat those guys. Is he going to beat the guys that are more serious about their career? Like the one thing you could say about MVP is like he finds a way to win fights. He's 21-2 as a professional. I mean, this isn't a guy that's just like, oh, let's see what happens, right? He's manicured and kept a very professional record over the course of his career. So did he take this fight haphazardly? Did he just say, hey, whatever happens, happens? No, I think he got a guy that he's like, hey, I could beat this guy on the feet. I could keep this close, mitigate, right? He's probably not going to finish me. So let me go out there and try and keep this close, keep it a manageable decision. Worst comes to worst, I go, oh, they robbed me. We talked a bunch of shit, and then I move on. That's kind of what I see. I see damage mitigation. I see two guys that might fuck around. So for me, there's one guy who's plus 115, and there's one guy I'm being asked to lay 30 cents, 40 cents for the privilege of seeing if this guy's going to fight smart for the first time in his career. No, thank you.
Yep. Corey's giving you props, Liam. Bro, how are you drinking a coffee at 12:15 at night?
The grind never stops, brother. I'm just getting started.
All right, Drop, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm not going to waste anybody time on this one. I don't have a strong read on it. I think it can go either way, so better go with the dog. I don't trust Holland to grapple. MVP is a good striker. I think he has decent takedown defense, but we don't really know about him in the UFC. That's his UFC debut. He's older. So, yeah, I don't really want to get involved in this one. That's probably going to be a close fight. If anything, you go with the fight, go the distance. I think it's better than picking a side. But, if Holland go to plus money, he's the bet, but he's not going to go to plus money. So, I'm just happy to pass and enjoy this crap.
That's how I'm thinking the same thing. Like I said, I'm going to be there. Maybe if profits are rolling in by the time we get to this fight, maybe I'll take a stab at it just because I'm there. I want to see something crazy. Angle I'm kind of taking is a lot of these guys who are UFC vets like Holland, They get these guys MVP coming in, who obviously is a great Bellator fighter. I think he's got like the whole UFC pride. I want to show there's levels to this. I want to show him I'm welcoming him here. I'm a guy who's been in, a top 10 welterweight, middleweight guy. I want to show him that there's levels to this. Is that going to happen? Probably not, just because of how decorated MVP is on the feet. I think he'd be interested, but this is going to be definitely an entertaining fight for sure. All right. Co-main event. This is a 5-round fight at 155 pounds. Remember that. Dustin Porier versus Benoit Denis or Saint Denis, depending on if it's actually Staph or a 9mm bullet wound to the head that he claims it was, which is kind of like the craziest thing I've ever heard. But hey, crazier things have happened. Benoit Saint Denis, he's 13-1. He's 28, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. He's fighting Dustin Porier, who's 29-8. He's 35, 5'9", 73-inch reach. Also hinted at a possible retirement fight here. The action on this is Dustin Porier plus 193 to plus 170. Benoit Saint Denis anywhere from minus 205 to minus 245. Leo, I'm going to have you start us off first. Do you think Benoit Saint Denis is just going to impose his will and sub Dustin Porier here? Rear naked choke?
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to submit him, but I do think that he has a chance to do so, certainly, right? I think he's a better grappler, and I do think Dustin's not a bad grappler, but I think when you look at Dustin over time, what you've seen is his hips are too tight. They're regressing, right? He's a guy that's been around for a very long time, 20 years of fighting basically under his belt, pro, amateur, million fights, most of them very difficult. And he's a guy that cut his teeth at 145 pounds. I mentioned that on my show this week. If you're newer to the game, people don't even know that, but like the fights with Connor the first time, Holloway the first time, these weren't fights at 155. They were fights at 145, right? So those guys kind of came up and followed him to 155. And now we see this is a guy that spent most of his career fighting the best strikers in the division, going out there, having wars, having fun fights, being a knockout artist, a prolific one at that, one of the most prolific in lightweight history. So the idea that he can't win the fight, I think, is farcical. But let's talk about where these two guys are at, right? You got one guy in Benoit Saint Denis who's been fighting for a couple of years now, right? 6-7 years, all in on his career, trying to move forward, constantly focused, constantly trying to take the next big opportunity, the big next step forward. And he's willing to fight anybody, right? When you look, they said, Dustin Porier fights off, right? He's like, all right, next man up. Who wants it, right? Like, my man's just about the smoke. Whereas Dustin's like, let me make sure the contract's right. Let me make sure the money's right. Let me make sure we're checking every box here. And I think that's because he's looking at what's next, right? I don't think he's thinking about, let me line up 3-4 more hard fights. Let me figure out how I could be the best in the world. I think he's kind of said, hey, okay, that ship has sailed, right? I fought the best guys. I fought for the title. I've been there. I can't even win the goddamn BMF belt no more. Like, what the hell am I here for now? I think that's what he's thinking to himself, right? I think on the other side, Benoit Saint Denis is the best chance for France to get a world champion in the UFC, right? Cyril Gane, another guy who's right on that same precipice, but look at who he'd have to go through, right? There's a bunch of other guys who are his contemporaries and younger that are getting better, that are at the heavyweight level. And then you see the John Jones. That's a big gap to close, right? My man, he got finished in the first round. There was no competition. So I think of that and I say, is that what it looks like with Benoit Saint Denis? No, right? Because this guy goes out there. Frivola, I thought was a tough matchup. I truly did. Frivola's been clipped. He's been hurt before, but that was the only time I've not bet a Benoit Saint Denis fight. I picked him by KO1 or split decision. I said, if he doesn't get him out of there early, might turn into a closer fight than people expect. Frivola can wrestle. He can grapple. He can move in every position. He dominated Jalen Turner in the grappling. People forget this. So when you look at who he is and what he's skilled at, he has no bad area, right? And on the feet, he was getting pressured. He was getting overwhelmed. On the ground, he got swept. He got thrown to his back. Like, my man was in all sorts of trouble. He was under duress from second one. And I feel like that was a fight that showed me, what does Benoit Saint Denis do when he gets in the fire? He tries to kill in every position. Against Thiago Moises, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. Took him to the ground, brutalized him on the ground, finished him faster than Islam Makhachev. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a guy who could break your will, break your spirit, and get in your face, not give you a second to breathe. And that is exactly what Dustin Porier hates. If you look at Dustin Porier fighting Khabib, he's like turning to his corner like, I can't get this guy off of me. That's not the attitude you want against Benoit Saint Denis, because he'll try and grab you all night. He'll try and get in your face all night. So I don't think that he's got a lot of wiggle room here. I think Dustin Poirier's got to clock this guy, knock him the hell out, or he's going to be in a brutal fight that he doesn't want to be in. I think Benoit Saint Denis is like, whatever. Like, you want to hit me, you want to brutalize me, fine. That's part of what I'm signing up for. And I don't think he's afraid of that prospect. I think on the other side, Dustin Poirier is like, bro, every time I go in here, I lose a part of myself. That's not the attitude I want from my cage fighter. I don't want my cage fighter saying, hey, every time I go out there, I know this could be the last one. That's not what I want. So could he win? Sure. Do I see it? I do not. I think it's Benoit Saint Denis. I think he's going to finish.
Nice. All right. Key, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a BSD finish incoming. Whenever you think about just like primal sort of behavior, BSD is one of the first guys in the sport that comes to mind for me. He just has that it factor. I don't know if it's the military background, whatever it is, but that guy is just, Joe Rogan put it perfectly. Like, he's probably killed people with rocks. Like, he's just one of those type of guys. I really think, yeah, I really think the BSD is the side here. Minus 205. I was hoping that people were going to just buy into the Dustin Poirier sort of strength of schedule argument and bet him down, but the community seems to know what the deal is. I do have a BSD bet on Prize Picks that I'm looking forward to, that I paired with Gamrot's takedowns. I'm excited for this guy. I hate for Dustin to lose back-to-back. Losing that Gaethje head kick was brutal. Losing this will be also brutal. So, yeah, BSD is the side.
Dravi, how about you? And I'll wrap us up with this one.
You already know. It's the God of War. Yeah, he's gonna submit him, and I think he's gonna make it look easy. He's just in his game, like he's in his prime anymore. I don't think Porier is in his prime anymore. He's gonna be much stronger. I don't think that's what people don't talk about this enough this week, because he's very, very strong BSD, and he's very, very tough. And I don't think Porier grappling offensively is good, but I don't think his defense is good, dude. Like, he has been fighting a lot of striker lately, and he's very good at that. He's a very good boxer. He's fast. He's powerful. But he's not a one-punch KO guy, so I don't think he's just going to snipe BSD with one punch. He's more of a volume guy when he get a knockout. And, yeah, he can get a guillotine or some weird shit, I guess, but I don't think it's likely again. BSD hit hard. He's going to pressure him. He's going to make him uncomfortable, and he's going to finish him at some point. I don't think he's going to finish him in the first round. I think it's going to come probably in the second or in the third round. So I'm kind of stuck, though, here, because I'm confident he's going to finish him. I think it's going to be a sub more often than not, but I think a KO can be live. Porier just got knocked out badly. BSD hit hard, and he can knock him out on the feet and ground and pound, even though he's not the better striker and it's not close and he's hittable, but he's just going to go for it. I know that for a fact. So I don't really want to play the sub and get burns, but at the same time, I'm kind of mad that the ITD is not like minus 110. I think there's still time. I think that's a big pay-per-view. Porier is a big name. I think money is going to come in on him in the next few days, maybe the day of the fight. People are going to be betting him. I can't believe BSD is going to close minus 200 in a big pay-per-view like that with the name of Porier. I'm going to start a campaign if I need to, but I just hope that some money come in on the buyback, because now I'm kind of stuck into, I have a bet on this fight. It's the over 1.5. I got minus 135. It's now minus 225, which I think is more accurate. So with the big CLV that I have, I don't really want to like add a sub prop on BSD and then you knock him out over 1.5 and I burn my profit. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm kind of hoping I got a better number in the week for the ITD. Minus 110, I would play. So yeah, as of now, I only have the over, but BSD is my guy. I love him. Just that I can't really get myself to pay minus 200, but I think the big price tag is justified. Different career trajectory. I talk about this all the podcast, but I think there's a lot of fights that we need to talk about that. And you're not going to break BSD. I think the opposite is going to happen. He's going to be breaking DP and he's going to make him retire come Saturday night.
All right, Drav, I'm going to give you 35 seconds. Can you give a breakdown in French for us for BSD? French. In French.
All right, I'm going to do that right now. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
35 seconds. Go.
OK, maintenant je parle français. Je pense que Benoit va l'emmener au sol facilement. Je pense qu'une fois que ça va être au sol, il va être capable de le soumettre. Porier n'est pas assez bon. Il n'a pas assez bon grappling pour tenir avec Benoit. Benoit est trop fort physiquement. Puis, je pense qu'il va le finir au 2e ou au 3e round. Make it look easy. Wrap it up.
I like it. So yeah, I'm too. I'm on BSD. I got him actually minus 135 on DraftKings. So did my job there. Very, very happy about that. This guy says on stake you can get BSD ITD on minus 110.
I would take that. I don't have this book, unfortunately, but minus 110 will be a bet for me. But I don't have that.
Canadian, isn't it? You don't have stake, and I thought that was a Canadian book. No.
I don't think so, but yeah, maybe I have. I just don't have it.
Drake is always betting on it. And he's in Toronto.
I think they're an international crypto book.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, I think it's with crypto probably.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got BSD minus 135. Very happy with it. I think the price on the sub, Bet Online dropped it at plus 150. I think that price alone speaks for itself. I think it's obviously Dustin Poirier's least favorite spot is rear naked choke. We've seen it time and time again. Benoit is one of those guys. If he gets on top of him, we'll probably find the same thing. I think he gets a sub here. I'd probably play the inside the distance as well.
The one thing I just wanted to mention from like a long-term numbers standpoint is if you look back, like I do think the market may be slightly over emphasizing the sub relative to the KO, not because it's not more likely, but just like I always like to look at historical numbers, right? And if you look, Charles Oliveira was like plus 300 to submit this guy, right? So like I do just think it's like a big predicate to say like plus 165, plus 150. I would be a little bit more interested in that ITD for that reason. I'd rather buy up for that type of deal.
Yep, definitely. Awesome. I agree. All right, let's go to our main event here. This one's getting good. If you saw all the clips online today, we got Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. Sean O'Malley is 17-1, 18-0 if you ask him. 29, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. He's fighting Marlon Vera, who's 23-8. He's 31. He's 5'8" with a 70.5-inch reach. The prices right now on that are Vera anywhere from plus 242 to plus 200. Sean O'Malley is anywhere from minus 265 to minus 305. I'll start us off with this because I'll just be quick. Going into this after tapes, I bet Sean O'Malley. I bet fight to go the distance just because I think both these guys, kind of turn things up as it goes further, especially Marlon Vera. Probably could be a little live for a later finish just because, Sean O'Malley is going to have to stick and move all around. He's going to get tired from doing that over the course of 5 rounds, I personally think. So I picked fight to go the distance. I also parlayed Sean O'Malley with Asu. I got Sean O'Malley at minus 240. I don't think he's really that bettable at this price. I think if you're going to bet the Chito Vera side, if you're going to bet it, my advice is to wait until after round 1. Round 1, Chito starts slow, and he's also, I think there's a stat that he's only won 1 first round in his career or something like that, that fights that have went further in the distance. So you get a better price on the money line, after round 1, round 2. So I think you wait to play him there. I don't see him getting a finish unless it's a crazy, perennial nerve leg kick type ordeal like it happened in the first time, but I just don't see that happening. I think Sean O'Malley's aside, but the more I kind of watch the videos this week and stuff like that, there's something about Chito. Chito is mad. He's vicious, and he wants to get this win. He wants this win bad because, Sean keeps rubbing in his face like, you didn't beat me. I think Vera's going to come in here and try and make a statement. And I think it's going to be violent if he does. And I'm here for it. I'm glad I'll be there. We'll just go right around. Drav, what do you think for this one?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky fight. I think at the current number, the value's probably on Chito, but I just don't rate him as a fighter in general. He has good assets. I bet Corey Sandhagen pretty big against him. I think Sean O'Malley's alive to do something similar. But Sandhagen mixing the grappling and the wrestling, which I don't think O'Malley's going to do. That's a difference. And I think that Sandhagen is more proven over 5 rounds, and he's a little bit more durable than O'Malley probably. Yeah, O'Malley's a good striker. He's a sniper, powerful, good footwork. The big cage is going to be good for him. I don't think Cheeto's a good minute winner. He's going to get outpointed. I think the more likely outcome is O'Malley by decision. Cheeto is so durable, dude. He has never been dropped. I don't think we see grappling or wrestling here. I think they're going to stand, be striking for the most part. And yeah, I just don't see O'Malley finishing him personally. I just think that he's too durable for him. And I think the leg kicks are going to be there for Cheeto. That's a worry because we know that O'Malley has struggled with that multiple times. And yeah, if he doesn't finish him, I know Cheeto has 5-round experience. O'Malley doesn't. And he hit hard. He's dangerous and he's durable. So to me, at minus almost 300 for O'Malley, it had to be I had to say it's dog or pass now. I think O'Malley win by decision. I think if you want to bet him, that's probably the way to go. I know my guy Key probably have a different take here, but yeah, man, to me, I'm just gonna enjoy the fight as a fan and not get involved. I know there was some crazy opener on some book for the fight go the distance, and O'Malley decision prop, they fucked this up big time. So if you got on that, props to you. That was the way to go. Yeah, I know some people also on Cheeto finish only. I don't mind that. Cheeto KO is a good bet. Yeah. To me, it's not impossible that he win a decision, by the way. He's always good in round 4, round 5, and he come in alive in round 3. He's a slow starter. But it's not impossible that he win a decision. And based on the number, what people say and what the book give you, kind of make you think that it's impossible that he win a decision, which I don't agree with that. But O'Malley should be able to pick him apart, avenge the loss, and win a decision.
Liam, what are you thinking for the main event?
Weird fight. Kind of a tricky fight, I feel. But my gut says that O'Malley is going to get the win here, right? For a couple of different reasons. Number one, the way this line's moving. Number two, you look at O'Malley, and he's a guy that I've underrated, right? Like, I just haven't always believed, right? I kind of left some money on the table, multiple opportunities, plus 200 against Jan, didn't bet it. Plus 200 against O'Malley or against Sterling. But Sterling's a guy I really like, guy I really respect. And all I knew for sure was I can't lay minus 250 against an O'Malley in Boston, right? I just think that's like negative EV betting personified. Now, when you look at that, it's just, for me, the difference there as well is that Aljamain Sterling is like a clear, proven guy with an ability to win rounds on the feet, right? He went out there, Pedro Munhoz blanked him 3 rounds with volume, activity, just never let him get going on his game. On the ground, he could go out there, take somebody down, back body triangle. There's the round. Thanks for playing. So that's the MMA meta, right? You could shave 5 minutes off. That's 10 minutes off of a 25-minute fight. You win one more round, you get the decision. Like, he's a difficult guy to get one over on, right? Aljo's a tricky guy, but he's also a guy that has to manage his pace over 5 rounds. He has to be, in the positions he needs to be. Otherwise, it could get greasy fast for him, right? And I thought Sean did a great job. Picked his spots, found a big shot, hurt him bad, put him down. I think that when you look at his striking mechanics, he's fast, he's mobile. The things that I don't necessarily like, I've always been a little skeptical of his durability. I'm like, is this guy for real when he gets hit, when he's taking shots on the return? Because most of the time his defense means he doesn't have to show that part of his game. But when we have seen him get hit with some big shots, the legs have given out, right? He's had some injuries. The Cheeto fight is the main example of that actually cost him, right? The only time where he wasn't able to find a way around it, deal with it, mitigate. Even in the Aljo fight, he said, like, I went into this fight injured, like, couldn't grapple, couldn't do wrestling defense. It was all about keep this fight upright, find a big shot, put him down. I feel like in this spot against Cheeto Vera, Cheeto's known for being a guy who's very difficult to put away. He's very durable. And I think that for Sean O'Malley, if he's going to be smart here and try and finish this guy, I think the way you do it is by touch, move, make him frustrated, make him miss, and force him to try and change his game plan. Because when you look at Cheeto Vera, I think that from a striking standpoint, there are times when he's gotten frustrated in the UFC. The Corey Sandhagen fight is like the primary one that comes to mind. And I loved what Corey said about that fight. He's like, there comes a point where it doesn't matter how bad you want it, right? It's like you want it really bad. So does everybody else, right? Then it's about what are your skills? What can you actually do to win the fight? And I think that we saw the best of Cheeto Vera in that fight with Sean O'Malley. He's got dangerous elbows. He can be dangerous on the ground. He's got a pretty good clinch game. He's got good low kicks. But I think that those are the tools that he's got to try and bring to bear against Sean. I think Sean has kept some of his skills close to the vest. I think his grappling, chief among them, right? We've seen the quintet footage that gets circulated around from time to time. But truthfully, he's a guy that I think is very practiced on the ground, right? He's gone to grappling tournaments. I know guys that have like beaten him at like local grappling tournaments 5 years ago. It's like this guy puts himself on the line, right? Not a lot of UFC guys do that. They don't have to, right? They're like, no, I'll just keep it in the training room. I'll keep it under wraps. This guy's been out there competing. And I think that's because he wanted to make sure I've got a deep skill set. I have more than one layer to my game. And so I think that in this fight, grappling could be an X factor in either direction, right? If Cheeto tries to mix in the wrestling, the takedowns, last time we saw him on top, land good shots from the guard. Is that still going to be there? I do have a feeling that Sean O'Malley's probably leveled up his guard game in the interim. I think that was something he needed to address after that Cheeto performance, right? Because the one thing I never hear anybody talk about is the fact that Cheeto bullied him from the top guard, right? Like, yeah, you can say whatever you want about the leg injury and whatever. He went down, he got beat up with elbows, and then he kind of like covered up and called it a fight. So we've seen evidence that he could lose this one. But again, the bookmaker's taking a risk, right? They're saying, hey, plus 240, plus 250, grab it, go ahead. Take it right here on Cheeto Vera. And I do think Cheeto's a popular guy. I think he's a well-liked guy. I think people are going to get to that side as well. I think there's going to be a lot of money on this fight on both sides. But for me, I think the guy who makes the company more money, Sean O'Malley, right? I think the guy that if this comes down to a close decision, Dana White's going to be standing there, looking at the judges like, you want to come back next time, brother? You know what to do. And I just think that for those reasons and for the fact that this guy O'Malley might just have a little bit more in the back pocket, give me Sean O'Malley to get the win here.
Nice. Key, finish it here.
I got O'Malley at minus 190. I'm happy with that price personally. I said anything lower than minus 200 I was willing to take. I cap him at around probably minus 250 or so. I think in this spot, people tend to forget that while Vera did have more leg kick volume in that first fight, O'Malley landed 3 really, really good leg kicks, one that spun Cheeto completely around. I look at the Sandhagen fight, and it's a lot different because Sandhagen also was wrestling, and that also seemed to throw Cheeto for a loop there. But Cheeto's responses to the feints, I mean, he was just drawing out responses at will, Sandhagen could. And we know that O'Malley has some of the best feint games standing in the UFC period. I think that there's a possibility he gets a KO. That chin has to crack one day. If there's anybody to crack it, it's going to be O'Malley. He just has as he says, I mean, he just has a knack for finding people's chins and putting them to sleep. I do wish that we got more of that Aljo fight. I do think that was a premature stoppage for what it's worth. But I think that this O'Malley spot, as long as he just doesn't gas out in rounds 4 and 5, which nothing leads me to believe that he will, honestly. In the Yan fight, he looked good late. He recovered after getting dropped. I mean, he's shown a pretty good chin. He's gave us nothing on tape to truly believe outside the leg injuries to believe that he just won't be able to handle 5 rounds. I do think that O'Malley has decision upside here. I think that he wins the first 2 pretty easily. And from there, it's about what type of probability do you give him to sneak just one more round in. And even if he doesn't win one clearly, like Liam said, Dana will be looking at those judges very seriously whenever those scorecards are about to be read. I think that O'Malley handpicked this spot. It's pretty telling that the UFC actually gave him this fight after Cheeto beat Pedro. I mean, in a fight where he had to come on pretty late, honestly.
Yeah, it was a close fight.
Had Pedro winning. So I think that this is the UFC has shown his hand in terms of who they want to win here. O'Malley's a star. They gave him a stat card to sort of help boost his pay-per-view numbers and his first real pay-per-view as the champ. I think this is O'Malley's spot at minus 190. I'm very happy. At minus 270, I'll take a pass, but nothing leads me to want to take a dog shot on Cheeto.
I hear you. All right, guys. And that's UFC 299 for you. So we're going to go over quickly. Obviously, and we do the BTL parlay. We all pick a leg. We throw it in however much you want to put on it. And hopefully it cashes. It's profitable over the city. We've done it every episode since I think episode 1. So it's been profitable long term. Hopefully we keep it that way. So let's all pick a leg. Do you have one ready, or do you want to start somewhere else?
We're gonna let
Sure.
you,
I mean,
you-
I can go right ahead if you want, but I also don't want to step on anybody else's pick. So if you want, you guys can all go first, and then I'll be last up to the bet.
No, you can go
you
first,
go- you
brother.
go
You're the guest. You can go first.
All right. Well, if I'm going to go first, listen, could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I haven't been wrong about this guy yet. So I got to trust my gut. I got to trust my feeling on Benoit Saint-Denis. I think he's riding once again, the god of war. Haven't missed on his bets, right? I did bet against him one time. Oleksiejczuk dos Santos, an absolute gangster, up a weight class. I think that's a different scenario. I think this time on Saturday night, we're talking about the new contender in the lightweight division, and his name is Benoit Saint-Denis.
Okay, Benoit
Love,
Saint-Denis.
love it, Liam. Love it. So -205 BSD for the leg of Liam. You guys can go. I'm gonna go last. I have a lot of options.
Yep. Key, you go first.
I'll go.
Robelis to Spain -350.
I'm not a pussy like you. Jailton Almeida, -113 money line.
Okay.
That would have been my other pick. So there you go, brother.
Let's go.
Okay. -113. Drav, you go.
I'm hesitating on the GDM or Porier.
Okay, well, you got to pick one. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I just don't like the line anymore on GDM. I'm gonna pick Porier. Fuck that. Porier -118.
Jan -118. All right, and I'm gonna pick. I was looking into.
I think that parlay is money, so don't fuck this up, Peg.
I know. I'm looking right now. Damn, that is so dirty how they're doing that. I was gonna do the over on the girls fight for Chukigan and Barber, but I just noticed that line's like -350 now. So
Oh
that's
no, we don't take that.
too high. Too high.
Finisher.
What's the under on this fight? You know, I might take the under on the Parisian to Spain fight -280. I might play that one. I have nothing on that fight. What do you think
I
of
think that
Job?
shit's hitting.
Yeah,
Which one? Excuse me.
The Spain and Parisian under 1.5.
-285.
Yeah.
Yo, dude, it's plus 600.
What is?
Plus 600. The parlay.
Okay. Yep. -285. Okay. So that's, you said it's what? Plus 600 flat?
Yeah, flat, dude. That's a sign.
Okay.
That's a
All
sign.
right. I like that. Okay. So again, we're doing Benoit Saint-Denis -205 money line. Jailton Almeida -113 money line. Peter Yan -118 money line. Under 1.5 for Despain Parisian -285. Total plus 600.
Let's cash it.
Yep, let's cash it. Obviously, Dravi's going to put together a Subaru parlay for you guys. He'll post it usually on tomorrow. I'll do the timestamps tomorrow morning, considering it's about to be 1 o'clock here. Thanks for joining us, Liam. We really appreciate it. Love to have you on again. All of us big fans of you. Happy to have you here. If you guys all want to give out what you got in your bios, go over everything. I'm not going to say plug yourself again. So go ahead. Liam, you start off.
Sure thing, brother. I just want to say it's been a blast. I appreciate hearing from all you guys. I think that we line up a lot on the fights this week. Don't think it's an easy card to call, but I do think that the research kind of leads you in a certain direction oftentimes, and that's how I'm feeling for this week. So feel good about the positions I have. If you're interested in my bets, my information, I do a lot of stuff that's not just betting, purely my bets or my picks. It's also just things that you can use as a profitable handicapper, trends, information, social media reports, all that. It's on Patreon, LiamPicksFights, and you can find me everywhere at LiamPicksFights. That's on Twitter, YouTube as well. Do free content every week. I hope you guys will check it out.
Key, what do you got?
Yeah, key 3 picks. Y'all know the deal. I have my dub club in my bio. $12.50 a month. You can get a week free trial. Right now, we were almost up plus 25 units almost in the month of February, looking to continue that hot streak in March. So yeah, go ahead and hit that free trial. Join the Discord. We got a lot of cool guys in there kicking shit about NBA, NFL, a whole bunch of good stuff, smart people. So yeah, go ahead and join.
Drav?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for coming, Liam. It's always fun to have you on. Always fun to go on your show as well. So best of luck this weekend. Best of luck to everybody. I love this card. Like, we have a banger of a card, but I think we have some very good spots for betting as well. So it's like good betting spot, good card. Let's get it. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Dravy_. You can find my Dob Club and the link in my bio on Twitter. You can join the free Telegram. I give out free picks, free bet every week. And if you want all the breakdowns, all the bet, you can subscribe to my Dub Club. We're having a good year so far. We want to continue to roll. I have bets for PFL already. That's PFL is going to be tomorrow, guys. So don't miss this. Doumbé versus Baki. That's a big event. Lazy King's back as well. I have 3 bets for PFL. And I have a lot of big bets for UFC, so it's a good time to sign up. And yeah, man, it's gonna be fun, dude. I'm excited.
Yep. And as always, Picks by Pegasus. I'm your host. I have a Telegram in my bio. It's free, like a modern day Robin Hood. It'll always be free. I'll steal from the books, give to the common man. Always gonna be free. Always plan to be that way. I'm here to make you guys money. All I like is the support. All right. Let's do it this week, guys. Let's crush it. I'm taking a red-eye flight. I'll be in Miami, and I'll be out of Miami within 12 hours. I'm just there for the card. It's a business trip. Let's cash these tickets. Cheers, guys.